lost heart been broken. We'll be sitting on your bedroom floor still, smoking, smoking, smoking. Call me up at 6 around, I'm dressing in my house again. Your t-shirts on the floor, yeah, where I'm dressing in my house again. You know just what I like. Call me up at 6 around, I'm dressing in my house again. Your t-shirts on the floor, yeah, where I'm dressing in my house again. You know just what I like. So now I've got a plan, I hope you're gonna be my man. I can see it's cushy in the house right by the ocean sand. And when I wanna cry, I hope you're gonna hold my hand. And when the shit goes down, I hope you're gonna make a stand. This shit is super wild, this shit is super cool. This shit is kinda gangster, I think I'm into you. This shit is super wild, this shit is super cool. This shit is kinda gangster, I think I'm into you. You call me up at 6, come round, I'm dressing in my house again. Your t-shirts on the floor, yeah, where I'm dressing in my house again. You know just what I like. Call me up at 6, come round, I'm dressing in my house again. Your t-shirts on the floor, yeah, where I'm dressing in my house again. You know just what I like.
This show and all shows of the Over the Bars podcast is brought to you by Patreon.com and all of our Patreon subscribers, sponsors, pledges, money givers, charitable individuals. Thank you to our patrons. If you would like to become a patron of the Over the Bars podcast, go to Patreon, patreon.com/overthebars. On the right side of our patron page, you will see the ability to become a patron. There's a red button that says Become a Patron. Just simply click that button. The first tier of our patronage, it's called Fan of the Show. And this is the initial package for the core group of patrons. $5 just gives us a little bit of money. Helps us keep doing the show. The second tier is the Sticker Pack Superfan. For $10 or more a month, you'll receive an OTB sticker pack mailed to your front door every month. Cool one-offs, rare color combos, new designs monthly. So everybody that was pledged over $10 or $10 or more, actually, not only did they get the sticker packs every month, but they also got a t-shirt for free, shipped to them for free in their size last month in September. That was part of the package. We just decided to throw in a little something extra. And then we have the Super Duper Fan Pack, Tier 3. And then we ship you, for $15 or more, we ship you a custom packet filled with customized OTB stickers with your name printed right into the sticker. Every month you'll receive a new envelope with assorted stickers and a wide variety of fresh designs for your flexing pleasure. Also, your name will be mentioned as one of our key patrons. So I'd like to give a really big shout out to our friends Dylan Diornellis, Jesse Anderson, Christopher McKillop, Corey Hipp, and Dan Bax. I'd also like to thank all of our Patreon subscribers, specifically these 5 off the top. Fantastic people, really helping us continue doing the show. Also, I'd like to thank Bar to Bar MX, who has become our newest corporate sponsor of the Over the Bars podcast. If you'd like to be one of those, the information can be found on the Patreon account website. So let's take care of a little bit of quick business. We're going to give you a new little customized commercial for Bar to Bar, and then the OTB song, and then of course you'll hear what the latest from Donnell's Motorcycles is. Alright, let's hear from it.
Recently, one of our reporters caught up with Evgeny Babyshev of Russia, getting his thoughts on the South Central region motocross area and what his favorite facility is within the area. There are many tracks within the South Central region, such as Randard Raceway, OMC, Three Palms, perhaps even Johnsonville or White River in Arkansas, all of whom have some of the best soil. Can you explain why Bar to Bar is among the elite group and why it is your favorite facility among them all? Well, honestly, it's pretty cut and dry. Sure, Kansas has a great heritage of fantastic motocross tracks, and Bar to Bar is easily the highest quality facility to come out of the state, touting it with some of the finest motocross tracks regionally. The sandy surface develops many lines at each corner along the course, and the passing opportunity is phenomenal. Sure, some of the other tracks you mentioned are fantastic, but above and beyond goes the crew, marshals, gate workers, and facility at Bar to Bar. I even understand that they are now featuring a cornhole championship on the Saturday night of the Oklahoma and Kansas border battle, scheduled for November 4th and 5th. The choice is obvious when there's a $50 winner-take-all cornhole championship on the line. Nowhere else will you find that kind of accommodation to the families who enter the facility. Bar to Bar is the top choice, and I boldly stand behind that statement.
Yeah, OTB, who's this?
Honda CRF 450R for 2018 features an all-new downdraft air intake and fuel injection layout that achieves a potent, broad spread of torque, but it also allows for heavier components to be located as centrally and low as possible, so that all power can be effectively utilized. In addition, the vehicle packaging results in nimble cornering, while updated suspension settings to the Showa shock and 49mm coil spring fork improve handling. Corresponding with the addition of an electric starter powered by a lightweight lithium-ion battery, the Kickstarter lever has been removed in order to save precious weight. An updated ECU setting means power delivery is more usable than ever, and the big CRF still has great features like a titanium fuel tank, engine mode select button, and wave pattern 260mm front brakes. Add it all together and you've got a bike that delivers even better on its promise of the absolute whole shot. If you're interested in the 2018 CRF 450R by Honda, go to Donnell's Motorcycles at 17851 East US Highway 40, Independence, Missouri. Give them a call at 816-478-9393. Open until 4 on Saturday.
So, Bart, that music was in a Pepsi commercial from 1992.
It was sexy.
That's the power of YouTube, yeah. And now here we are. It's being reused as the Donnell's commercial for the all-new, smooth riding 2018 CRF 450R.
So smooth. We all like smooth.
Yeah. So on your mic, Bart, keep it. You can move it. You can pull the whole thing back. Yeah. Keep it about 2 fingers away from your mouth. Yep. Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
Yeah, Josh, about the same for you. Give me a little.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
God, you have such bass in your voice. I love it.
space.
Yeah, so, Bart, you've got 2018s on the showroom floor across all brands, Beta, Husky, Honda, Suzuki.
Yes, sir.
What are the people buying right now? What seems to be the hottest item?
CRF 50s and 110s.
Well, we already knew that. I more so meant in motocross racing.
Honestly, the numbers aren't real big, but it's pretty even across the board. The new Suzuki, we got a few of them out. Got a couple of the 18 Honda 450s out. Only got in a couple of the Husqvarna 450s so far. They're out. They're gone. Got another guy waiting on that. Honestly, for 18s, kind of my list I'm building and taking deposits on, it's the new Honda 250. That's there's a lot of excitement behind that.
How many 450s do you have to well, see, like on your, okay, so with your dealership, are you like what level in the Honda spectrum dealership are you? How does that work? Because I know there's like the Honda Pro, or what's the Honda Powerhouse dealership?
Powerhouse level 5.
Right. Okay.
I'm not even on the chart because I have other brands.
Right.
Not even in there. But on the off-road side, let's say in the district there's 30. In my district, let's say there's, I think it's 36 dealers. I normally run about anywhere from 8th to 13th, 14th on where we at our total sales. But on off-road, motocross bikes, off-road dirt bikes, in that little segment, I'm always normally in the top 3, maybe top 4 in the district. But that's kind of what we do.
Who's got you beat, Pro Cycle?
Are those guys still in business?
No.
Oh, boy.
Off-road, honestly, I don't know. They don't tell us who is actually in front of us in each segment.
Okay. Yeah.
They total-wise, we can see total-wise who's in front, but not necessarily each segment.
Josh Hudson's with us also.
Hi, folks.
Feel free to contribute at any time, Josh. This is a
I'm taking it in. I'm like a sponge right now, just listening to Bart.
So, before you got here, Bart, Josh is beyond knuckle deep in the 2018 Fox and Shift gear, and he said, please don't talk to me about gear on the podcast.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
You shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, I know. It sounds bad. It's what I do all day, every day, but I love it. It's good.
Well, I mean,
Josh is here to talk dirt bikes.
yeah. Well, for you, it's a little
Dirt
bit different
scooters.
because you're gear and accessories
Yes.
mostly, and you go to the bike dealerships and you sell jerseys, chest protectors, pants, gloves, so on and so forth.
Sure.
Now, Bart has parts, accessories, and service for 5 or 6 brands.
Correct.
Who's counting?
So so it's a slightly different
Oh, yeah.
wheelhouse.
We're partners.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Are you is Donnell's let me rephrase. Is Fox the lead brand at Donnell's again?
Yes. I looked at a report the other day, and we're talking apparel, not total accessories, chain sprockets, all that
Right.
stuff, but
Yeah.
apparel. Apparel, casual, yeah, Fox is still our number one brand as far as what goes across the counter. If you counted gear only, it's kind of a race between Fox and another brand X. But
Fly.
Yep.
Yeah.
But when you consider hats, stickers, T-shirts, sweatshirts, other stuff, then that's where Fox really comes in.
Yeah, Fly doesn't quite exactly have the same merchandise like soft goods and clothing as what Fox does.
They do, but not to the depth. And I don't know how you say it, but every backwoods 4x4 truck you don't see a fly sticker on the back window. There still is more of a following on the casual side of things than what Fly's established, for sure.
Who's your biggest competitor, Josh?
Everyone. I personally think...
What a good answer.
Yeah, thank you.
Good answer.
My personal belief on that is anybody in customer service or sales is my competition.
Okay.
So, meaning the guy that cleans Bart's rugs or whatever, right, at the shop, he's my competition with Bart because he may give him better service than what I do. So I have to make sure and do the best that I can do for my partners.
That makes... Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I try to look at it a little differently, Jeffrey.
And Josh goes above and beyond on his job. He'll, like, if we have a plugged toilet, he'll fix it. You know, if the toilet paper roll's empty, he fills it. You know, it doesn't matter. He steps
I'm
up.
here to do it.
Fox Racing Inc. will fix your toilet.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Just call.
Probably broke more than I fixed, you know.
Back to real quick, going back to the CRF 450. I had a little more detailed information the last time that I was in here on motocross sales, who was where. It was more of a 2-stroke, 4-stroke argument, but I did a little bit of research before I got here this time.
Yeah.
For 2017. Honda came out with a new 450 in 17. They updated a bunch in 18, but I wanted to get a lot more of the detailed report, and for whatever reason, it's gotten way, way tougher to get a hold of. But for 17 currently, on the 450 side of things, Honda has sold more than anybody. Yamaha is second, and Kawasaki is third. I tried to get the rest of it and didn't come up with it, but it still surprised me. I said, well, wait a minute. KTM's winning everything. Dealers are having troubles getting product. Are they still not up in that top 3? And the answer was an immediate no.
As far as number of 450 motocross bikes sold?
Correct.
Okay, in America.
Correct. Now, if you want to compare Honda's 300 Woods bike 2-stroke sales, yeah.
Zero.
Killing it. Yeah. But obviously you lean towards the motocross side of things, and it's amazing still to think what we perceive as kind of the biggest, baddest thing right now with KTM and the powerhouse and the riders they've had and how well they're doing. The old adage of win on Sunday, sell on Monday, it's just not happening. It's something that, we're all, race enthusiasts, and we want to see whoever's winning on the weekend. You're thinking, oh man, that's what's blowing out the doors, and me being a dealer, that's what you want. But it still is not the deal. When you consider dealer network and everything involved, Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, even Suzuki to a point, if the product's good, if the dealer's good, just because the amount of dealers and everything out there, they are still in the motocross world still outselling KTM on it.
Yeah.
Up until just 2 years ago, Suzuki was still outselling KTM. And, we all know that their bikes are older, haven't been developed, haven't been changed up.
Yeah.
But, it's about 2013, I guess, was about the last time they were probably in front of them. But
so you said that I focus more on motocross. I'm towards the end of the year, I start getting more into woods riding because this is the time of the year whenever woods riding is ultimate. The trees or the leaves are falling, the dirt's good. And by the end of the year, I'm kind of burned out on just burning laps on the motocross track. And today we went out to Little Denmark, and I rode in the woods. Actually, I probably rode in the woods more than I rode on the motocross track today.
There's a couple big hills out there.
We climbed them all.
Oh, it's awesome.
So
Nice.
Nick Peterson and then Chris Thies and I were out there, and we see what I wanted to do was I wanted to burn laps on the motocross track, and then in the northeast part of the motocross track, jump off into the woods, and then go and do like the full woods loop, which we would kind of have to cut our own loop. And then we ended up just farting around on the hills. And originally I wanted to do like J-Day style laps, and then of course that ended up in who will do the gnarliest hill climb, which I think that Nick probably won, and he was riding his 252 stroke. Now, I'll say this much. He doesn't give a shit about that bike at all.
If it flip-flops back down the hill, you mean?
Yeah. So
Nice.
if it takes a tumble, he's not concerned. Whereas my bike's a 2017, still looks good, runs really well. It's not bondoed together. Whereas Nick's bike is a little bit more rigged up than my bike. And then so we were in the woods for about 5 minutes, and Chris decides to go for this one hill that's really rain rutted, but the leaves that had fallen had filled in the rain ruts, and so you couldn't see the ruts, and you couldn't see the rocks, and mostly the roots that were sticking out.
Tree roots.
And Chris sent it up the hill, and I was like, well, shit, if he's doing it, then I have to do it too. So I'm right behind him, and he hits a tree root in the left rut and goes, like, cases it, back end comes up, loses all of his forward momentum, and then stops and falls over. Now, because Henrik and his kids drive the Razors and Polarises out there, the depth of those ruts is pretty deep. So Chris got stuck, and I had to stop because he fell over into the right rut where I was in. And I mean, we were going third gear wide open up this hill, and then I had to stop, and then I got stuck. And eventually I got down the hill. It took Chris a solid 6 or 7 minutes to get unstuck and back down. Meanwhile, me and the Big Show are down in the bottom of the valley popping wheelies and riding up the hills.
I think I went up that hill on Terran's CRF 125 earlier this summer during the vintage race. I was down there playing around. I don't know what big hill you were talking about. I went up all those things on her pit bike 125, I think.
Yeah,
boy.
You probably did. I don't doubt that one bit. You're a hill climbing master.
I will say this. At one of the top secret riding areas that I go play at in the woods, and tightest trail in the area, really cool. I was looking at having Tucker Smith ride a bike for us in the hare scramble stuff, and so I took Tucker out there to my top secret riding area, and there was one particular hill that in our group of guys nobody hardly wants to mess with. It's 8 out, it's washed out, it's tree roots, it's not very long, but it gets steep. And I thought, okay, well, I had Tucker chasing around, and he was kind of following me, and I couldn't ditch him, I couldn't lose him, and I thought I knew the trail, didn't matter, couldn't drop him at all. So I get in there, and I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to run up this hill. He'll have to stop and think about it. He'll have to turn around, whatever. No, I bust up this hill and clean it good and everything. I turn around and look. He's right there. That dude didn't stop, look at it, think about it, nothing. And I can't get hardly anybody to go up this hill. It's nasty. It's tricky.
He didn't even think twice about it.
Didn't think twice. In fact, turned around, went down, went back up, turned around, went down, back up. And it's like, okay, never mind.
He's got it.
He's got it.
So Nick and Tucker are going to go to the Ironman GNCC next weekend. So yeah, Nick went. I think maybe Tucker did go too, but Nick went and did it, and he's riding his 252 stroke this year. I think he rode his 250F last year.
Yeah.
And we were talking about whether he's going to ride XC2 or the Open Expert class, and he's strategized. I think he's going to ride the Open Expert, but so my favorite race of the year is Thanksgiving Day weekend in Arkansas, on the Arkansas River. It's called Riverfront GP. And there is parts of it that are single track, but majority of it is small tractor wide. And they take a box blade out and cut out this 12-mile course in sand. Now, part of it is dirty sand. Other parts of it is just pure beach sand. And in those spots, the course, unlike here, they don't banner it off. They just throw some arrows up, and it's whoever can get through this, flat spot or whatever. Whoever can get through it fastest in whatever line, it's fair game. There's not like a 25-foot rule of the arrows or the banner. And at the place where it's at, they used to do sand mining. So it's got a lot of excavation pits and man-made hills. 2 hours long, hair scramble format, dead engine start. But it's one of the most fun races I've ever done in my life, and this will be the third time that I've done it. The last time that I went, I got a 6th that I was extremely proud of, because the year before, whenever I went, I crashed twice on the second lap, and then about an hour and 40 minutes in, I washed out on the face of a sand roller that was to jump over a river or a creek. And a lot of the slower guys would go down and roost through the water, and it would throw water back onto the face of the jump, and I caught it just right. So I did a 2-wheel slide up the face of this roller, which was 3.5, 4 foot tall, and then landed in the trees, slammed my shoulder, and I bent my ankle over backwards. I was like, I'm done. So I just rode back to the pits from there. But the last time I did it, Tucker got 4th, I got 6th, and then Ryan O'Neill got 7th, and the three of us went together, and we all three finished.
Nice.
I got a flat front tire 20 minutes into the race, and I came around the first lap, it would have been right before the first time pitting, and Tucker's dad was there, Eric, and I was like, dude, I got a flat tire, and he's like, so? Like, is it gonna hurt my bike? He's like, go, you're fine. Because, motocross, you get a flat tire, the race is over. But because I was in the sand, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, if the tire's still on the rim, go.
Yeah, and so I did. So some of the routes in the single track was a little bit sketchier, but by and large, it was fine. So now that now that the leaves are falling, the air is cooling down. Oakland and Topeka. Have you ever been there? Public riding area?
Yes, sir.
So that's a big hit. It's Oakland season.
Mm-hmm.
I just found out that there's an ORV park in Council Bluffs on the Iowa side of Omaha. So I'm going to go up there at least once and get some sand practice in.
Yeah, that just opened up. It was closed for like 3 years or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's been closed for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like really, really good riding.
Yeah, I'd love to go up there.
So then also going to hit bar to bar for some more sand experience and do Heartland Park on Saturday this weekend and go ride trails because they're doing the forward motion race on Sunday.
Yep.
And they've got the trail open on Saturday. So I want to go out and get some.
Yeah, Perry's been out there laying that out. It looked like a couple of sections that they posted. It looked really good.
Are there, Josh and I were talking about this earlier, are there even woods out there?
I don't know if Perry did some real strategic, camera positioning or whatever, but yeah, the photos they took, there was woods.
Okay.
It was good.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to make it kind of interesting and throw some little twists in there, but there's got to be some grass track, and because I've been out there a bunch of times, I don't remember seeing many trees.
Yeah, I'm genuinely excited for that. I hope it's a good grass. A good portion of the track is grass track. I think grass track riding is so much fun.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeffrey, that race that you do down in Arkansas, how many laps do you get during the 2 hours?
Well,
you fast guys, that is.
I think it's 7.
Okay.
12-mile loop, that'd be about right.
Yeah. I mean, the lap times are in the 20-minute range. Or
so do they ride year-round there, or is it just for that one event?
It's just for the one event. It used to be a public riding place.
Okay.
And then a excavator construction company bought the property out from the previous owners. And the previous owners, I mean, they were pulling sand out of there 7 days a week.
Right.
But they were motorcycle enthusiasts, so they just had it open. Well, they sold it off to this new company, and they're like, what? Motorcycles? No, absolutely not. But the guy that's been having the race there, I mean, he's been doing it 20-some-odd years. So he worked out a deal. He buys his own insurance for the weekend, and they get to still have the race. Now, I guess this year that they are going to have practice the 2 weekends before, but I don't know if it will be on the race trail or if it'll just be an open deal. I don't know.
How far away is it from KC?
Just, I mean, 4.5, 5 hours.
Just.
That's nothing.
Right.
Well, whenever you're doing a woods race, that's not a big deal because you can leave here. It's 6 o'clock and gate drops at noon.
Yeah.
Plenty of time to get down there. And
what kind of entries are they getting? Do you know?
It's hundreds. I know that there's hundreds.
Yeah.
The pro class is 100% plus $1,000 if there's over 10 guys. Otherwise, it's just 100%.
Right.
But every time that I've been, it's been over 10, closer to 15. And I'm trying to recruit a lot of our local A guys to go and race it because it is the closest thing that you will get towards like a works race or any type of. It's the most motocrossy race that there is in the woods around here.
And I think everybody should go. Everybody in the motocross community and everything, because with a 2-hour full-on sand hair scramble like that, it's going to be lots of chain sprockets, bearings.
Yeah.
There'll be all kinds of parts need to be replaced after that.
And where can they find those parts at, Bart?
I would suggest Donnell's Motorcycles in Independence, Missouri. Probably wear out boots, gear.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Tear-offs, the whole deal.
When you hit those trees, geez, you need protection.
Yeah, you absolutely do. As a matter of fact, Aaron Goley went down a couple years ago and did that race, and he top 5'd it.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he got 5th. But that year was tough.
Does it just get rough as hell or what?
Josh, there are parts on... Okay. First lap, there are parts on the course where you're, no exaggeration, 5th gear taped. By the end of the race, they're the same exact sections. You'll be 3rd gear, half throttle, going brup, 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 doubling through the rollers. There's one straight and specific in the very back, the southern part of the property, which runs along. There's another freeway, so it's nestled between the Arkansas River to the east, I-40 or I-20, I can't remember what it is, to the south, and then there's a U.S. highway on the north side. So it's landlocked between 2 freeways and then an interstate.
Right.
And on the south side, typically they have it run from one end of the property to the other in a straight line. And first lap, you're 5th gear going da 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 da. But then by the end of the race, it's not unrideable, but you have to slow down a lot.
So did you have issues the first time you went to pace yourself and not just go full out, or how did that work for you?
Actually, I have the problem. My problem is the other way. I ride too slow. I go too slow.
I have the same problem. Just anywhere I ride, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll go too slow for too long, and by the end of the race, I mean, sure, my muscles are shot and my hands are tired, but I still have gas left in the tank. So that's why I want to start doing woods riding in preparation for it this year, of going out and riding for 45 minutes and then coming back doing a refuel and then going back out and riding again for another 45 minutes at, 75, 80% pace, which before I would go out and I'd be mostly in 3rd gear. And also this would be the first time I'm doing it on a 2-stroke. And I will definitely feel a lot more comfortable in a 2-stroke than a 450. I think that I will be able to pace myself better this year because I'll be more prepared for it by riding in the woods and riding single track more often.
What still amazes me, and I think part of it has to do with the conditioning and training and everything these guys are doing, but it used to be when you were talking about a lot of the 2-hour hare scramble stuff, guys would talk about settling in, kind of pacing it first, try to save and go. Man, them top guys, they're going balls out 2 hours. It's amazing. Some of them are in really good shape.
I can't remember who the guy was, but I got lapped by Tony Joyner, Cameron Ishmael, I think. And then there was another guy that was a works racer. He actually came out and did this race because it was the weekend. Okay, so the 100-miler at the Ozarks is the day before. And then they do the RFGP. Nobody does, but it's literally impossible to do both. But the weekend before and the weekend after, there was TQRA races that had good money. So this dude came out from Nevada and did the TQRA race, then came to Riverfront. And on my last lap, he had lapped me, and I stayed with him for pretty much the entire lap. We were maybe 2.5 minutes in past the checkpoint where they scan you. We were maybe 2.5 minutes past that, and he got past me and we came around at an hour, 45 or so. So he was the first one to not go the lead lap, because there was Tony and Cameron or whoever it was. They did an additional lap. So he went, and I was like, oh, I'm going to run this guy's pace, because he got around me, and I rode his pace perfectly fine. I had no problems whatsoever riding that guy's pace. I wasn't at the end of that lap. I wasn't like, oh my God, how do they do it? It was like, why wasn't I riding this fast the entire time?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different mindset. Those guys are racing from when the flag drops.
Right.
You're settled in and doing your deal, and they're the old school way of settling in and being smooth at first. It's race pace from the green flag now in those guys. 2 hours.
Yeah. And I didn't have a large tank, so I had to pit more often also.
Yeah.
Which wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, I pull in and kill the bike and take my goggles off and change my gloves halfway through, and put on a fresh set of goggles. Goggles and gloves halfway through an enduro race or a hare scramble race, or you don't realize how wet your hands are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Jeff wanted to win.
I did not go there to win. I went there to finish.
You went there for the experience.
Dude, I never lined up at a hare scramble without the mentality of going to win. I mean, we're talking milk jug, gallon, tip it up, slam it in. Your goggles are dirty, tough shit, ride with no goggles.
Yeah.
Your gloves are wet, who cares? You got blisters for a week, go. We ain't got time for gloves. What do you mean stop for gloves and goggles? I don't know that mentality.
Well,
I guess that's old school. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but the thing is I knew. I mean, Tucker went with me. I knew I wouldn't be able to beat Tucker unless he had a mechanical. So just going there with Tucker alone was enough to be like, I'm not going to win this.
I'm out.
And like I said, the year before I DNF'd it at an hour 45. So this last year it was the last time that I went, it was I want to finish the race. Now this time I want to top 5 it. I'd like to get 5th or better. Which, I mean, isn't too lofty of a goal, I
still don't get that. Man, when I do some wintertime training and show up at a couple of hare scrambles, if Jim Stanfield was there, was like the fastest woods guy in the whole KC area, Midwest, whatever, dude, that's who I wanted to beat. You showed up with Tucker, you should have been like, I want to kick his ass. So all the way home, this 4-hour drive, I'm going to be ragging on him big time.
Oh, boy.
By the moto dude beating him in the woods?
Moto dude beating him in the woods.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And no, I always hoped when I went to a hare scramble, Jim would show up because the race was on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta beat him. Gotta show him the MX dudes aren't, 20-minute pussies. We can ride 2 hours.
Josh, have you ever done a woods race?
I have. I actually have a pretty funny story. Tucker's dad helped me gas at one of them. So
did he do the gallon jug?
No. This was my own tank.
Okay.
So I roll up and I was having a good time. It's all good. I didn't think I was going to do that great, but I was having a good time. And he started dumping the gas in, but it's one of those gas cans where you have to there's like a tab that you have to push down, and it releases the gas, so it just bloom, bloom. He just looked at me like, what the kind of gas tank is this? Like, it's a good break. I mean, it was hilarious. You had to be there. It was pretty funny.
You're saying it was like a lawnmower.
Yes.
Like a red can.
It was just
with
California safety gas can.
yeah, there you go. It was. He looked at me like, what the hell is this? It was great. It was not the quickest pit stop ever.
Where was that at?
I think that was Warrensburg.
Rocky. Was it Rocky?
I don't know. I had a good time. It was dusty. Yeah,
that's what kind of drives me away from doing hare scrambles during the summer, and even because in the spring there's a good chance of it being really wet. In the summer there's a good chance of it being really dusty, whereas in the fall the woods, because the leaves hold the moisture in and the ground whenever it, even if it doesn't precipitate, whenever the ground freezes and then thaws, it holds that moisture in, and its trails are titties.
It's always good. Yeah, it's always good. All time, without, I mean, there's no arguing. All time, worst ever, toughest race I've ever done, by far. In fact, I don't even know why I went back the next year to do it again. We get a flyer at the shop, and this would have been 1986, 1987. Had to been 1987 because I think it was a white one that I wrote. No, 86 because it was still orange. That's right, it was still orange. We get a flyer in the mail that down in El Dorado Springs, they're going to have an ATV hare scrambles. ATVs.
Okay.
Nice.
I didn't even really look at it, the flyer, much. All I seen was $500 to win it. And I'm like, dude, I'm in. Dad, can I borrow my sister's four-wheeler? Can I, my sister's got one of these Suzuki 230 quad sports. Got a manual transmission, manual clutch, kind of sporty.
Okay.
Bone stock. Other than a twist throttle. No thumb throttle, twist throttle.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
I said, Dad, I want to go ride this. Can I borrow Shelly's four-wheeler from the house? And he goes, oh, I don't know. I guess. Are you sure you want to do this? And I'm like, oh, yeah. He goes, well, man, this thing's 100 miles. I'm like, yeah, so? It's a four-wheeler. It's no big deal.
Just sit on it and
no
go.
Balance required.
Yeah.
4 hours and 45 minutes it took for me to finish that thing. I was literally stopping every lap at the checkpoint or at the scoring deal and saying, listen, guys, there's parts of this course we can't get through anymore. You need to get your guys out there. You need to check it out. We can't do it. And they go, keep going. They would not. It was 100 miles. And the weather was good. It was muddy as crap. But I literally had to slide my hands off the handlebar. My fingers wouldn't open up at the end of it.
Went outwards.
Yeah. Outwards. I was in good shape at that time. But I've never in my life ridden anything that hard for, actually $500 to me at that point was huge. That was big money.
Yeah.
And the thing was bone stock. That four-wheeler didn't miss a beat. I think I lapped the majority of the people out there. It was so good. The four-wheeler worked so good. So the next year,
Did you win?
Oh, I kicked their butt.
Oh, nice.
Big time.
$500 richer.
$500, and I washed up the four-wheeler, gave it back to my sister, and my dad and my sister, hey, you going to give it her? I'm like, nope. I worked too hard for that one.
Yeah.
So I went back to have the same thing the next year. And I thought, okay, I'm going to really kick their ass this year. And I told Dad, I said, hey, they're doing this thing again. And it's $500 again. But I'm going to take some horsepower this time. I'm going to take a quad racer. The 252 stroke four-wheeler, smoking fast. I had so much freaking problems. It was so cold that day. They ran us through these swampy areas. The only thing I figured out was so much moisture got to the airbox and air filter. It wasn't sucking water through the air filter, but it was freezing on the air filter, and it's like you couldn't get air, and it was like you're riding with the choke on. We stopped. We changed plugs. I got a flat tire. We changed wheels. I I fought the whole frickin' 4 hours or whatever it was, 3.5 hours, and I don't even think I got money that day. It was absolutely horrible. From one year, I had everything perfect and everything went good. To the next year, I went more prepared, and I got my ass beat that time. and it was just a bad deal. It was a combination of things. At the 4-stroke and the way the airbox was on it compared to the quad racer, I'd have been better off to have the slow ass 4-stroke again compared to the quad racer. But I think those two and American Royal Indoor was my big ATV races, and pretty much for the most part, those things I made some good money on.
So you've raced quads a number of times.
3 times.
That's a number.
Don't push
3
it.
is a number.
don't. But they were excellent training in the wintertime when the ground's frozen. I will say that.
When's the last time that you rode a quad for more than around the property to spray weeds?
That was the last time.
Yeah.
That was this spring. But it was with a sprayer tank on the back.
Yeah. So my dad has a 1988 Bayou 220 Kawasaki.
Yeah.
Since 1998, it has had the tires changed on it 1 time and the oil changed on it twice. And it runs like a champion still.
Sounds like perfect maintenance.
Not an issue.
Yeah.
Now, the muffler has seen some rust on it, so it's a little pipey, if you will.
A nice throaty sound.
Personality.
Yeah. Yeah. There was one day that we were cutting logs for the winter to burn wood, and there was this one tree. It was bigger than a sapling, by all means. It was probably about 4 inches in diameter, but it had been dead for however many years. And it was perfectly nestled in the middle of 3 oak trees, and it was probably 25 foot tall. The oak trees, the limbs of it, were holding this tree upright. Now, the bottom of it was kind of rotten, so my dad got the bright idea of, hey, let's get on the quad and run this thing over. So we got on the Bayou 220, fired it up, second gear, full throttle, just directly into the tree. And you'd think that it was that's a bad idea. Nope. Totally demolished the tree. Now, the thing was, because the limbs at the top were being held up by the other oak trees, we ran through the tree and it just pushed it about 5.5 feet further, but the tree didn't come down. And it probably made it harder to get the tree out than if we would have just cut it down.
Wedged in there now. So
yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Dad.
And now the front end of the front grill is caved in from that. There's no way that my dad remembers how that thing got in that condition.
But as guys, we can't just get the chainsaw and do it the proper way. We gotta find a better way to take that tree down, right?
There's a motorized vehicle around. We're gonna use it. Yeah.
Ram some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach Evans and I also were riding that thing at Finger Lakes one day on the Saturday night of a Missouri State race. And we were cutting it up out in the back, and he was driving, and there were a grip of guys, and we were actually on the road headed back. We had had enough. There were a grip of guys going on the road, along the paved road, and we were going the other direction. And a couple of them had some cool-looking quads, and Zach was like a squirrel. Anything that caught his attention, he was going to look at. Now, we were 4th gear. It was 5-speed. We were 4th gear doing a pretty good number. And he turned and was like, oh, Jeffy, look at that quad. So we both turned to the left, look at the quad, and then before we both turn around, we're going off of the road. Now, Finger Lakes, which we all know is an old strip mining pit. Mm-hmm. And one of those pits just so happened to be on the right side of the road where we were veering.
Oh, boy.
And we slowed down a little bit, and it was one of the ones where there was a cliff of about 45 feet before the water at the bottom. We slowed down in the grass a little bit. I may have pissed and shit my pants thinking, we're going in for sure. And there was one tiny dead tree that was about 2.5 inches in diameter. and Zach just steered us directly into it and center punched that sucker, and it saved us. And going into it, we couldn't have done it twice. But it prevented us from certain death and drowning the ATV forever. Now, we got back we rode back silent. Got back to the pits and sat there silently. No words were spoken. And my dad actually said, "You guys have fun?" And we're like, "Yeah." It took me every bit of 15 years to work up the courage to tell him that we almost drowned the quad permanently before I finally told him, because we were looking at it recently, and I told him. But yeah, I was probably 12 years old, and that was not that. I mean, that's a typical Finger Lakes State Park story.
Oh yeah.
If there ever was one, it's
your dad, I think's been out to Colorado on his adventure bike or whatever. But one of the craziest things out there in the mountains and riding those skinny trails, when you're on one of them skinny ass trails or any trail, you don't look over to the side and sightsee, because that's where you're going.
Yeah.
And if it's a straight down, you're going straight down.
So you almost have to stop to look. Or you do, I mean...
We were just out there a few weeks ago, and from some local guys, we caught a story about a vehicle rolling off the side of this pass road. And I vaguely remembered the pass road, and it's like, man, it's a big drop. So we're up at the top of the pass, and we're going to go down there, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, it's just around the corner. Just, it's over here to the left, whatever." Well, I'm riding along this pass road, and I'm kind of looking to the left, looking to the left, looking to the left. And every time I look to the left, it's like I'm running off the left. Well, it's 500 feet down. I mean, it's
Jeez.
Way down. So finally, it's like, screw this. Stop, look, go a little further, stop, look. And it's one of them deals that, man, you look, you're going that way. And kind of learned out there. You go ride in Colorado, and like I say, Big Jerry, he's done plenty of that adventure riding and plenty of that scenic ride. And man, sometimes sightseeing on a motorcycle ain't good.
Right. Yeah.
You're cruising along and you want to look and sightsee. Well, let me tell you, that's the direction the bike's going, and it makes it exciting. Makes it makes it to where you gotta slow down and take in the sights.
Do you guys do street legal bikes out there? I've never been to Colorado, like doing the trail riding and stuff.
Yeah, they're barely street legal. Where we go, we tend to try to ride mostly single track if we can, but the area we go, you may have 5 miles to 10 miles of some gravel road riding to get to some of that single
Right.
track. So most of us have tags. The guys that don't have tags try to get in the middle of the group, try to cover up. But if you're kind of being...
If you're just cruising through, they're probably okay with it.
Nobody
aren't they?
hassles you.
Right,
Nobody
yeah.
hassles you. Well, they don't want to chase off the... they don't want to chase off the dirt bikes, the ATV,
Right.
UTV guys, because that's their money.
Right.
But no, yes, I've got a tag on my bike, but about the only thing that makes it legal is a headlight, taillight, and a horn, and I just use the horn to honk at the guys in front of me.
Right.
I ain't honking at nobody else.
What were you riding out there?
Beta.
Okay.
Beta 430 race edition. And, man, call me old. I actually put a Recluse clutch in it, and it was the best bike I've taken out there so far. I had so much fun with it. It was cheating. It was good. Only put about 300 miles on it, 280 something, I think. And I don't know percentage wise, but considering the group of guys I ride with, it was a lot of single track. It's kind of a lot of miles with the guys I rode with. We're out there for the scenery and have a relaxing time and maybe drink a cold beer once in a while. But yeah, we had a good time.
So were all you guys on like fuel injected bikes, or Was there some carburetors? Did you guys have to mess with anything?
No, it's part of our break time. Part of our, you get through a really, really nasty section. You beat through the rocks, the tree roots. You're 13,000 feet. You get up there, everybody's sweating, everybody's cussing that we went on that trailer, and then it turns into a 2-stroke, 4-stroke battle.
Right.
Of course, the 4 strokes, the majority of us are all on fuel injected. The 2-stroke guys are on carburetors. And it's not a fuel injected carburetor battle, it's a 2-stroke, 4-stroke battle.
Right,
we all argue that stuff, but it's all good.
Sure, yeah.
Josh, I was just thinking of this.
Yeah.
How did you get into dirt bikes?
My grandpa had dirt bikes. I was like 3 years old or something, and I got on a little JR50 and started riding.
So you've been riding dirt bikes for a very long time.
Yeah, but I didn't start motocross or doing anything competitive until I moved down to Texas. I was 21 at the time.
But did your JR50 have a steel gas tank or a plastic gas tank?
Oh, it had a steel. Still does. It's a 1979. My grandma bought it at Olathe Suzuki. At the time, they lived down in Spring Hill. And she thought it'd be a fun toy for the grandkids. So she just went and bought it.
That's awesome.
Oh, it was so rad, yeah.
How many grandmas are buying dirt bikes for the kids now?
Oh, my grandma and grandpa are the best. My grandpa, he just turned 90.
Okay.
And 2 or 3 years ago, he just bought a brand new Harley trike. Like, him and my grandma still ride.
That's awesome.
Dude, he's so rad, yeah.
So, I didn't know that you ever lived in Texas.
Yes. I worked for Tucker Rocky for a couple years down there, down in Dallas.
And are you from here or Iowa?
No. I'm from Olathe.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually started after high school. I started at Tucker Rocky whenever they had a warehouse here in Kansas City.
Okay.
And they closed.
I didn't know they ever had a warehouse.
Yeah, they did. Right off I-35 and Bedford Road, just past Isle of Capri Casino and all that, past Frontage Road.
It was on the north side of the river.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. So I started with them, and they moved all their operations down to Dallas. Okay. And so I moved down there. Mm-hmm. And so I worked there for a couple of years, and Tamara and I got married, and then we decided we want to move back to Kansas City and be with the family. So
you guys have been together that long?
Yeah, well, November 7th, 19 years will be. Yeah. And I'm only 22.
I was going to say, you're barely 19 years old.
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, we've been together like 21 years. Yeah.
Where was your first moto race at?
First moto race was at Village Creek or Mosier. Yeah, something like that.
One or the other.
Yeah, one or the other. My first race was a quote-unquote GP-style race at Oak Hill. Not the current Oak Hill.
Mm-hmm. The original Oak Hill. Yeah, exactly.
And so a bunch of guys from Tucker Rocky were there, and they thought they'd play a joke on me. And, it's hotter than the hubs of hell in the middle of, Texas in the middle of summer, and not in that great a shape, and I'm going. Well, I had gotten the white flag. Next lap I come around, I get the white flag again. You race till the checkers, my friend. So I kept on going. Well, they were playing a joke on me. I went in the back section, wrecked, and I was out, I guess, or something. I don't remember part of my life, and I came back, and everyone was they're like, oh, my God, we can't believe you kept on going. Like, I wrecked and was out in the woods by myself and knocked out or something, and, yeah, it was awesome.
Did you ride, and you just kept riding?
Yeah, whenever I don't think I was out for that long, but then I got to and finished and came around, and everyone was loaded up and pretty much leaving, except for me.
You were the only one on the track.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law did that at Merwin one time, where the last time him and I raced together was at Merwin for the Forward Motion race, and that may have been, other than the GPs, that was probably the last hair scramble that I did. I was on a KX 450. He was on his RMZ 250. Halfway, dude, I was bow ringing it that race.
Right.
I pulled the whole shot, of course, and went on the motocross track, and I led the first lap, and then on the second lap, I got passed by Levain or whoever it was, and dude, I was pumped because I led a lap at a woods race. And now Merwin is not the tightest of trails by any means, but still, I was like feather in my cap.
Yeah.
Is there a rock out there?
None. There's not one.
All right.
So on I actually lapped Eric on maybe the third lap, and he told me not a minute and a half later, he crashed down into a creek bed and hit his head on a log down there.
Oh boy.
He said he has no idea how long he was down there.
Right.
Has no idea. Didn't know where we were parked. Just woke up and he's down there laying down, and there was only one way back to the pits, and that was to finish the lap.
Right.
And there was majority of the course left. He got back and finally found, because we took his truck, so he found his truck in the pits. It started raining about an hour and a half in, and I was top 3, and I was like, dude, I'm going to fucking kill this race. I was thinking,
right,
totally going to top 3 this bitch. As soon as it started raining, and Merwin in the back, where it's that gumbo, went from good, kind of dry powder, not too dusty, to ice.
Right. Yeah.
Literal ice. I came around, and the clock had a minute or an hour 58 to go. I said, nope, I'm done. I sat there and wait for the 2-hour mark, 50 feet from the finish line, and then as soon as it hit 2 hours, I rolled across and went from 3rd to like 6th, 7th, something like that, because I didn't keep going.
Well, let's back up to Eric's head injury. That really helps me. That might explain some stuff about Eric.
Oh boy.
I don't know for sure.
Low hanging fruit, Bart.
Do you know my brother-in-law?
I don't think so. No.
Oh. He raced for a while in the late 90s and early 2000s, the 125 beginner class.
Nice.
Yeah, and now he has a marketing and ad agency that Bart goes through for all of his marketing.
Nice.
I'm just going to go ahead and shamelessly plug them. That's 2amarketing.com.
Oh, 2A Marketing.
Thanks,
nice.
Josh.
Yeah, hey,
great stuff.
No problem.
Yeah.
I do remember my first race,
Josh
Village Creek.
His radio voice and his radio face.
Yes. Beautiful for it. You really could do NPR. Or better, even. You could be like the late night DJ on Hot 103 Jams,
right.
Kansas City's big station.
Sweaty balls.
Sweaty balls? Who's Sweaty Balls?
Have you seen that Saturday Night Live skit?
No.
Oh, they're doing like NPR radio, and I think it was Alec Baldwin. He's talking about his sweaty balls. But it's not what you think. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
So can we back up from sweaty balls and go back to your sitting at the finish line and waiting a couple minutes for the finish of this 2-hour hair scramble?
Here we go. I'm going to hear it again about how I'm a snowflake and a pussy.
Nope.
Whoa.
I pulled the same stunt.
I'm shocked.
Whoa.
Same deal. I run that ATV hair scramble. I go down there for a motorcycle hair scramble. I take Mark Hayes. He was working for us at the time. Dude raced. He said, I was asking my dad to go to this hair scramble with me. He goes, nah, I don't want to go down there. It's, I'm going to go sit down and do nothing tomorrow. So Mark says, I'll go. And I'm like, okay, cool. So Mark and I head to this hair scramble. It was an okay money deal. Wasn't big money to overall, but it was okay money. It's good training. We get there and there's snow on the ground. And I'm like, this could be a little bit exciting. So go out on a parade lap. It was kind of soft ground underneath, wasn't frozen, so you got a little bit of traction. I'm like, okay, we're going to be good. This is going to be good. I get the whole shot, take off, and I wadded up big time. And just right off the bat, half lap in, wadded up. Just my knees killing me. I'm laying on the ground, moaning and groaning. The whole pack passes us. Or passes me laying there.
Yeah.
I pick the bike up. I'm like, okay, my day's done. So just what you said, how do you get out of there? Well, you finish the loop. You have no idea where you're going. You just finish the loop.
Yeah.
Kind of take off. I'm like, okay, the knee's feeling a little better. Okay, I passed the last place guy.
Yeah.
Pick off another guy. And I'm like, all right, I want to put my head down. So I start charging. I come through, I don't know where kind of the finish, and Mark's cheering me on. Go, go, go. And little did he know I was already putting a gap on him on the first lap, and it just wadded up. But keep going, and I finally stopped for gas, and I said, okay, where am I at? He goes, dude, you're leading. He said, just keep this same pace. You're leading. It's all good. I'm like, oh, well, cool. So I keep going, keep steady. Getting through, it's starting to get muddy, starting to get nasty. Just keep fighting. I'm riding at an RM250. I think it's about 80 84, 85, somewhere in there. And at the finish, you cross this creek, and it had a nasty hill climb right at the very end, right at the finish. The finish was at the top of the hill.
Okay.
So I'm charging at the bottom of the hill. Mark's down at the bottom of the hill. He says, "Hey, dude, you're still leading. I stop, right at the end. I said, "Dude, are you sure I'm okay?" And about this time, this dude comes blazing by on this crap. I don't know if it was a Can-Am, old KTM, some European bike.
Okay.
I'm like, "Wait a minute, Mark. What about that guy?" He goes, "No, dude. I'm telling you, you're leading." So I'm like, okay. So I run like 2 more laps, and I pull up right to finish. And I said, "Where are we at on time?" And they said, "Well, you're at hour 58, hour 59."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, I was just told I'm leading. How much time do I have?" "Well, you're leading your class, but for the overall, you're about 45 seconds behind, or a minute behind the leader." I didn't have that discussion with Mark. I'm not worried about leading my class. I want the overall. He didn't know overall was the big deal.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh crap. And I'm not exaggerating. There was 15 seconds left on the clock. I dropped it in gear and took off after the guy.
Oh boy.
And I was like a minute behind him or whatever it was. And
Yeah.
at the top of the hill, I was on his tire, but you're going up this hill, there's no passing. You couldn't get around the guy.
Yeah.
I was so pissed off, I didn't even wait for the trophy presentation. I told Mark, I said, "Yeah, it's time to go. Let's load up and leave." I was pissed.
So what class were you riding?
I
Sportsman.
don't know. No.
I'm just kidding.
Trail rider.
Double A or whatever, the expert class.
Well, then how could you be second overall if you were first in the premier class?
It may have been the 200 expert dude or, whatever.
Okay.
B guy's having a great day.
Yeah. Or, I mean, maybe I don't even know how the classes were, but, I signed up in the 250 class. This guy's on a 200 or whatever. And, it wasn't, I don't even remember how the class structure was that day, but yeah, I was leading the 250 class, but I wasn't leading the overall, and that's what I wanted. But no, that was on a bike. That was a pretty tough race to not get the overall. I was pissed. But
Wait, what was it like? Okay. See, because my dad was doing he was doing enduro races in the 80s. He was doing hare scrambles, and he did the
Blackjack Enduro.
Yeah. I'm sure you've talked to him about it a couple times.
No, but Blackjack Enduro was the big deal then.
Okay.
Now, is that in stages, or is that like a hare scramble, just 2 hours or whatever?
Stages. Timekeeping, average pace, average speeds, and as the day goes on, at the start of the day, it's easy to maintain your speed and your timekeeping. But as the day goes on, fatigue sets in, the course gets tougher, the sections get, tougher, everything gets tougher.
Right.
So it's harder to average your mile an hour. And that's where enduros these days, it's turned into more about speed and stuff, where back then it was not only the speed and the skill, but it was also your timekeeping skills and your, tracking how far you're into the sections. And there was a lot more to it.
I never understood how can you pace yourself when you don't know how far it is to the next checkpoint.
Good question. No, I mean, that's part of the race.
Okay.
You kind of had to know mileage-wise. They had roll charts to try to figure out where they're at and, how far into the section they are. But some of the biggest penalty was what they called burn a check.
Right.
You would come around a corner and here's the checkpoint.
Right.
Well, you had busted ass going too fast, too hard, and you burned the check. You got in too quick, and you would have more penalty for that than if you'd have just, been pacing yourself a little better. But as the day went on, as the course went on, sections would get tougher. So you're trying to go a little quicker to get through a nasty section and fight it because your mile an hour or your average would go down.
Okay.
And no, that's where a big part of it was. It wasn't just about how fast you could go. There was more things involved in it. Dad had a kick-ass enduro team at the time, and they were really, really good on the timekeeping side of it and everything. It was Steve Lewis that helped his dad, Gene Lewis, with Lake City forever. Don Dowdy, which was an electrician, by trade, but just super, super sharp, smart guy. really good at timekeeping, really good at the bike, setting it up, getting it working right. And the other guy was Ernie Walker, which Smiling Giant. A lot of the guys from the old days knew him as Smiling Giant. Ernie was a big guy. Same deal as Don. Steve was a little more like pin it and go, bust ass, whatever. Don and Ernie were a little more like, kind of on the mental side of things. They thought everything through. Ernie went on to build race cars and motors, and in fact, when Tyson was going really fast on Super Minis, I wouldn't send a motor off and spend money on it. I would go over to Sedalia and go to Ernie's house, and he would help me build a motor, and I'd buy him lunch.
Yeah.
He'd want to go to the buffet. I'd buy him lunch.
Yeah.
He'd build me a motor. So
fair trade.
So Ernie and those guys were really good back in those enduro days, and your dad would know them. There was more to just going fast. There was a mental side of it, and trying to average a speed. And it wasn't computers sitting there. It was your roll charts and what you had wrote down and tracked and checkpoints and certain sections and mileage. And yeah, there was a lot to it.
I would love to do a sprint enduro.
Everybody says that's the fun thing. That's a big deal now.
Yeah. So, I mean, to the best of my knowledge, what it is it's essentially checkpoints where you just haul ass and they add up your time, but you have to do the course more than once, and then it's an average, I believe. Now, see, John Day, who does the J-Day races, he has the Kinda Full Gas Sprint Enduro Series. And from what I see, it looks like you get it's like you get 3 tickets, almost like a beer garden, how you get, the tickets.
Right.
Well, the same deal. You go up.
I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah, already. So you've got you've got 3 chances to ride the course, and you go up, and you have your class has certain times. So like the AA Pro riders would be between 11 and 11:45 is when they're going to run that class, and they may run a couple different classes, and you might have a colored ticket like a pink ticket. So you go up and you're in the pink ticket time, and then you just pin it from A to Z. You don't go out and burn laps. It's just try to make it to the finish line as fast as possible. And then you go back and do it again later in the afternoon, and you do 3. And I think that they average the time between 2 of the races and then kick out your worst time. I could be wrong on that, but that if I remember correctly,
I think that's right.
Run. I think that sounds like a blast.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, because and they're still running 18-minute lap times. They're still long races.
Yeah.
But instead of just going out what's cool is you can go out with a motocross setup in that and run half a tank of gas. You don't have to run 2.5 gallons of fuel to do something like that.
What's really cool on some of the off-road, it's not on all of it anymore, but what's really cool on a lot of the off-road racing that I always liked and I thought was good, you can have a 10 or 11 mile loop, and they can give you a parade lap or a practice lap, but you don't have that dialed. You don't have that loop dialed. And so that's what I always liked as as a racer, as somebody that tried to use their mind, think about it, not just balls to the wall, hold it wide open. You got to use your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
And where I really, really respect a lot of the off-road guys, some of them guys are going balls to the wall, and they don't know what's around the next corner, over the next bump, over the next hill, and there's a lot of mental aspect to that that's really, really cool. I like that. I think I kind of like that in running. I always did wintertime hare scrambles. Gene Lewis would always have some at Lake City. There would be a couple at Matt at the Trials Club up by the airport, El Dorado Springs, whatever. I'd always try to ride those things, and that's what I always kind of liked about it, because it was somewhat of a mental game. I mean, I think one of the best battles I ever had, we were still on 80s, and it was with Steve Halleck, and one of us would be leading and we're balls to the wall, and then all of a sudden you're blowing a corner through the weeds and whatever, and the other guy's now back in front, and you're back chasing him down. Then he blows a corner, and if you could stay together about halfway through, you normally had the corners dialed. You knew what was coming up, and it turns into a different race. You go through these different stages and phases of it, and as crazy as it sounds, we can go to Colorado and we can play ride. Nobody's racing. Nobody's in a hurry. But it's still the same challenge, the same thing, because you're fighting your ass up this tree root, rocky hill, and then it does a switchback, and you have no idea what's around that switchback.
Right.
And it puts a whole different aspect into riding. You know, the motocross track, you go get a practice session or 2 practice sessions, or you were there on Saturday. You kind of know what's up.
Yeah.
When in the off-road side, there's so much riding, so many times that you don't know what's around that corner.
Right. Yeah.
And I kind of like that, where you have to do a quick change, quick setup, all of a sudden you got the front end light, heavy, you're moving in the seat, you're doing something because it's last minute, change it, do it. Well, that's where a lot of kids, and Talon included, my son, I try to get him out in the woods more, and it's not as big a deal to him, or he doesn't enjoy it as much, but man, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot out there.
The Riverfront GP, there's no sight laps. There's no practice laps. It's just the course is virgin until
follow the arrows.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you talk about blowing corners. And it's bad. And of course, the guy that's in first place is hauling ass. And there comes a lot of these corners where it'll break out into the open, and then all of a sudden you realize you're 100 yards away from the nearest arrow. That really, you come out into an opening, and you're supposed to turn an immediate right. But if the weeds are low enough, and there might be old trail or something like that.
Oh, it's easy to blow it.
But then you'll turn around and you'll see 5 guys following you directly behind you that are locking it up.
Oh, yeah.
And then the guy in 6th place comes around, and now he's in the lead.
He's in the lead. Mm-hmm. Yep. No. I love it. I like that kind of deal.
Yeah, I do too.
I've been at a hare scramble before when it's so snowy or wet or muddy or whatever. You're like, screw it. I'm not going on the parade lap, or I'm not going on the practice lap. When the green flag drops, fire it and go.
Yeah.
And, learn it. Learn it. You got 2 hours to learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Yeah, I did a hare scramble. It was raining so hard, it's like your bones were wet. It was just so wet, and I'm sitting there going, oh, geez, this is going to suck. Ruts so deep, and then a little bit into it, I was having a blast. I'm like, man, if I can finish this, I can really ride.
Yeah.
I was doing great, and then sucked water into the air box, and there's nothing I could do. I was so pissed. Yeah. Man, but that was fun.
But, in motocross, I don't want to take anything away from it, because it still is that challenge. Everybody wants to hit that corner just right, that rut just right, that jump just right. But in the off-road racing and stuff, it's amazing how something that we as motocrossers look past. It's like, okay, I don't want to win it. I want to finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went every time wanting to win it. Mm-hmm. I went there to win it, but it's like halfway through, you're like, oh, crap, let's just get this thing done.
Right.
I don't want Dad or whoever to be disappointed if I pull off. I can't pull off.
Right.
And, you're frozen to the bone, you're wet to the bone, whatever it is, and you're like, okay, I can't quit. I got to go. But I think a true diehard motocross guy, that's the mentality, that's the mindset. They're not wanting to quit.
Yeah. Yeah, I've pulled off, short of injury or mechanical, I've pulled off of the motocross track maybe twice since 1995, where it's and I can't even remember what 2 times. I'm just giving that out of room for error. But I know that I've done it one time at Splinter Creek in Illinois, because the track was super bad and we were just having a not very good day.
Splinter Creek, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Is it still going?
It's still a track, yeah.
Nice.
But Big Jerry didn't drive to those races or whatever and with the intention of you pulling off.
No.
We come to race, good, bad, crappy track, good track. You go to the checkered flag.
I think I can name probably 15 people off the top of my head that I've seen quit a moto early and just pull off or call it a day. I love seeing it at the practice trail on practice day, whenever, because I go out and like I'll hook up a Fletchall or Talon or Adrian or anybody, and if they're behind me, I will ride until I am dead on practice day. If it's a 15-minute ordeal, I can't just go out and be like, oh, this is practice, this is fun, this is a good time to, throw whips and have a good time. No, if there's another A rider there, it is a total pissing contest.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't have to say it to them, and there's no, there's no agreement, there's no, hey, we're going to go race. But like today, Chris was riding with us, and I know, not nothing taken away from Chris, I know that I'm a better woods rider than Chris is, because he doesn't ride in the woods. And he's on a big, heavy 450 that's brand new. Not heavy, heavier than my bike. So the way that he's riding is going to be a little bit different than the way that I'm riding. And there was this one downhill where he kind of checked up a little bit, and I don't think either of us had been down it yet, and I just pinned it, just for the sake of being like, yeah, I'm the better woods rider. Now, of course, it means absolutely nothing. And every day of the week we go to the motocross track. Chris is a faster motocross rider than I am. But just knowing that I got him on that one downhill,
you got to win practice.
Put that in my pocket. Yeah, absolutely.
So do you want to know the one, probably the most, I can't say that I was humiliated, but because I am a touch older than these guys, but you're oh no, I can't even say the name of it. What's the Topeka?
Harlan.
No. Area.
Carbondale?
No.
Oakland.
Yeah.
Oakland.
So last time I was out there with your brother-in-law and Talon and I, and man, there's people pulling up and people unloading, and we got in. It was slimy, nasty. Everybody's like, "Oh, you go to Oakland, it's all raining and whatever, and it's great. It's better if it's raining." It's bull crap.
I've heard that before.
If you go down the river in the sand, if you're in the middle of a river, it's awesome. But up on the top, no, it's
not so much.
Crap.
Yeah.
So Dave LaFond and I don't know, there was a whole bunch of us out there playing, and we're chasing each other through the woods, and I absolutely got my ass handed to me by Ryan O'Neill and Tucker Smith on XR 100s.
Yeah.
And I'm on the latest, trickest, coolest, most badass woods weapon you can have.
They ride the dude. I bet they put every bit of 20 hours on those bikes a week.
Dude, we got pulled into this area that it wasn't even. You had to pull through the weeds to get to this little track thing, and it's like the jumps are made with shovels.
Yeah,
and it's the tightest, craziest thing.
Yeah,
and I've never laughed so hard and have so much fun. Just banging. You waited for the guy in front. You're rubbing on him. You're bumping him, and then he slides out, makes a mistake. You get past him, and then you make a mistake, and then you got into CRF 100 blowing past you. I'm like, and I don't care what you're riding, what you're doing. If you're into it, and you're into it for the race and the competition part of it.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what you're on, what you're doing. It can be so much fun to have that battle, and you still want to win.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
absolutely.
Okay, yeah. I want to run that CRF 100 over and knock that bitch down, because I ain't letting him pass me like that.
Yeah.
And oh, man, I come home with one of the nastiest bruises I've ever had in my life that day, but, oh, man, we had fun. And like I say, that's just part of it. On the track, in the woods, wherever, I think that's all. That's why we're all drawn to the sport. Mm-hmm. It's the fun side of it, the competition side of it. I mean, it's hard to give up.
I think, and part of me doesn't want to do this because I don't want to give the satisfaction to my dad over him being right. I think with age, I will get more and more drawn towards doing woods races, just for the simple fact of it's a little bit slower. The jumps aren't, there's no jumps. It's you ride at 12 o'clock and you're out of there by 2:30 typically.
Yep.
And I get it. I get why guys leave motocross and go and do woods races. Now, I'll never stop doing laps on the motocross track. The same way that you haven't. You still go out and cut up some lap times. But I think as I get older, I'll want to venture off into the woods more and more, just for the sake of exactly what you were talking about. And it's almost easier to have fun with your buddies in the woods because you're not going as fast.
Man, everybody in here has been around this stuff for a long time, but one thing that is, and dare I say it, one thing about it that kind of bums me out is racing has changed. The tracks have changed. The jumps have changed. Granted, I love to go out and play at Kingsville, and the Dealer Cup was coming up, and I went out there on a Thursday night. I hadn't ridden at Kingsville. I hadn't ridden on a motocross track for probably almost 2 years, and I wanted to ride the Dealer Cup. And I went out there, and I'm bring my gear bag, and Talon's already out there, and I'm putting my gear on, and he goes, "Well, dude, if you don't hit that triple in the back, you ain't going to ride my bike." And I'm like, well, first off, whose bike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you mean my bike.
Whose bike I can't ride?
Yeah.
But, by the time I got out there, it was, they'd turn the lights on, they cut the day section, I come around the corner, like, well, okay, we can't hit the big triple. And I'm looking at the face of that thing, I'm thinking, I don't want to jump that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this doesn't look like fun. And everything's different. And when I go out in the woods, whether it's Schumacher, whether it be somebody like Tucker or somebody even fast, I feel like I can kind of ride and have more confidence out there. Where on the motocross side of things, it's changed. It's different. And the off-road side, the pace is different. It's balls to the wall for 2 hours. It's not pacing yourself. I know them guys have all improved. You look at Colton Haker and some of the top dudes, it's totally different than even what it used to be.
Right.
But, man, the motocross side of things, age creeping in, it's different. You better admit that you're not ready to hit that triple, or it's a quad or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, that giant jump.
Yeah, it's a big jump with a steep face. It's hitting a wall. And man, it's just different.
There's even with me at 29, like there's jumps that I'm just like, no, I don't think so, not today. A couple years ago, I was at Nebo Hill with Adrian, Austin. I don't know if Moran's was not on big bikes yet, but there were 3 kids on 250Fs that were doing this triple. And I was on a 450, and I could have done it, absolutely. But at the end of the day, again,
that was a big jump.
Not those ones, not the big ones in the front. Right before that, it was just a rhythm section.
Oh,
and I was just going double, and the speed of going triple single was, we're talking half of a second faster, but it looked really cool, and it was hard to do. And I was thinking, what do I have to prove against these kids? And I remember Steven Galamba was trying to talk me into doing it, and he was kind of razzing me about it in front of everyone.
Peer pressure.
Very much. Yeah, I was getting a lot of peer pressure.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, these fucking kids are 16 years old, and they're doing these little triples, and they want me this kid's dad wants me to, do it. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I argued with Steve over it. And then finally I told him this proverb that I had heard a long time ago. And it was about, hey, will you pull your phone away from there you go. It was a old...
Are you getting religious on us?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was getting really scared.
And an old bull and a young bull come over the crest of a hill. And at the bottom of the hill, there are heifers galore. And the young bull says, hey, let's go down there and fuck one of those heifers. Or run down there and fuck one of those heifers. And the old bull says, let's walk down there and fuck them all.
Wow.
And
what a proverb.
Yeah. And I told that story to Steve, and I think it clicked with him of, I don't have to do these triples on practice day because I'm still...
See, that's what's great about never being a fast guy. Like, no one gives me shit for not doing a jump. They're like, yeah, Josh isn't going to do it. He never has. It's great. And I go and have a great time.
Yeah, it just keeps you...
And I feel like I'm still improving.
Hey, you know, the thing is, Josh, if you set the bar really low...
Oh, super low.
Then you can only overachieve.
Right.
Okay, but forget the bar, forget the level, whatever. I mean, this is a question for Josh, and I sat at my house and watched Talon riding with a couple of his buddies the other night, and was developing good berms and good ruts, whatever. Josh, whether you're running at the front of the C class, the A class, whatever class, if you can go into a corner, your body position's right, the bike's right, you hit the berm right, man, is there any better feeling?
Feels awesome. Yeah.
I don't care if you're going A-level speed, C-level speed.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it's if you enjoy it, if you get it, I ride with Jeff Schumacher and Kevin Huff quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we're old guys.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we used to have our own fast days back in the time, whatever. But we have one particular loop that we jack around on. We go round and round this thing, and we'd get killed by any local A, B rider, whatever. But man, we go round and round this thing, and we think we're heroes, because we hit this one corner good.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the pace, the speed, the whatever. If it feels good, if it feels right, it's hard to replace that.
There are times whenever I'm on the motocross track and I'll hit a corner perfectly. Perfectly for my speed. You know, like I could never go faster than that in that corner or over that jump or whatever it is. And I'll come back after the race or ride is over, and I'll sit there and be like, God, I'm so good. But if you put Jimmy Albertson on the track, he could do it a second and a half faster on his slowest lap.
Okay, hold on a second. But that brings up a question that I had, and I don't know if you guys are going this direction or whatever. So you talk about Jimmy, you talk about some of these fast guys. Totally changing gears, totally switching directions.
Okay.
Red Bull Straight Rhythm is this weekend.
How about this? Let's start hot topics and go into that.
That would
do it.
That would quantify as a hot topic.
Only on Over the Bars podcast will you find hot topics ranging from motocross to remote control cars. This is Hot Topics. Hot Topics are presented to you by our Patreon subscribers. Go to patreon.com/overthebars to pledge today. Donnell's Motorcycles, 816-478-9393. Bar to Bar MX. Ride on. Straight from the deep mind of Mike Garrison to the notepad. This is Hot Topics only on Over the Bars.
Do you know what that is?
I'm lost.
Motor World, Speed World.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's music from ESPN too
Yeah.
on Speed World. Except obviously it's just the music what I've got.
Yeah.
And then I
Did you pay for that?
No, sir.
Oh, boy.
Again, that's the power of
That's
YouTube.
a hot topic.
So yeah, Red Bull Straight Rhythm is this weekend.
Hot topic.
Not only do we have the 450 class, the 250 class, but we've got Ken Roxon's two-stroke shootout class. The bracket for it is amazing.
But, ho.
Okay.
So, why is it that is the hottest topic is the two-stroke bracket?
I'd say two reasons. Number one, it actually gives the guys that are racing it an opportunity to create a reason to watch it aside from just raw talent. The shit talking
Yep.
that's going on.
Oh, it's next level.
Absolutely.
It's amazing right now. I love it.
So the two best that I've seen yet are Jared Steinke. Or it's Jared or Garrett? Jared. Yeah, Jared
I think
Steinke posted a photo of 3 girls bent over in front of the Eiffel Tower, and they're all leaning on each other. And then he copy and pasted Reed, Villapoto, and Ronnie Mac's faces onto it. And then said something to the tune of, "I'm the only one that even races two strokes. You guys are smoked." And then the other one was Ronnie Mac took the bracket and then replaced all of the riders' names and photos with the wives and girlfriends of all the other guys in the two-stroke race, and then said, "This will probably be the only race where I come in last."
Oh.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. Ryan Villapoto's wife and then Ellie Reed and oh man.
Yeah, that was
who's Kristen Marie?
I don't know, somebody's girlfriend.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They're going to get Ronnie Mac, whoever they are.
Yeah. The Mac
I
attack.
don't know if they want that or
I think I need to follow Twitter a little better or something.
Instagram, yeah.
Instagram.
Insta-bangers. Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah, and part of it, I think that Red Bull just said, "Hey guys, do what you want with it. This is the fun thing."
No, let's back up.
Okay.
This thing has gone nuts in the last 3 weeks, 2
Yeah,
weeks?
absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how they got Roxon to come up with it, put his name on it. Of course, everybody's thinking, "Oh, Ken Roxon on two-stroke." No, Ken ain't going to be there.
He's the host of it.
He's not going to
Yeah.
be racing it. His name's on it. But holy crap. I don't even know who's going to be there racing the 450 and stuff, but I know the bracket.
For the two-stroke
I know
class,
who's
yeah.
going to be in the two-stroke.
Yeah, that's
deal.
what's amazing. It's like not the racing, it's the shit talking and everything that
Okay.
people are coming to. You know, they want to
So-
see that.
What was that sound?
What is that? Is it a heartbeat? Oh boy. We've got an echo.
So,
Echo.
no. This was me recording. I was testing something out. Okay. So
Okay, we're
yeah.
back.
Okay,
Yeah,
and we're
Musquin's
back.
obviously the heavy favorite for the 450 class, easily.
Yeah. But are we betting on an Ulta for the lights class?
Dude. Oh, I hope Josh Hill wins so bad, and I feel like with the R&D that they've got on that bike and the amount of
Time.
testing
Oh,
and
yeah.
the
Yep.
amount of riding that he does on that bike.
It's going to be awesome. And that was the big draw last year.
Yeah.
Was the
Do they only
Alta.
have him on it? Is there going to be another one?
As far as I know, it's Hill only, but there could be another.
Okay.
I don't know who else would be.
Definitely not Ronnie Mac.
No.
Not a big fan.
Not a big fan. But I would assume the Troy Lee guys on the KTMs is going
Yes.
to be still the heavy hitters in the 250. But, man, I tell you what, the little bit of Twitter that I follow or Instagram I follow, I'm kind of looking forward to the two-stroke race.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be great.
And I first thought the bracket was set up where there was only going to be the 8 guys, but I've seen they've thrown a couple extras in there, so
Oh,
somebody's going to maybe be knocked out of it.
okay.
Last
mean-
I seen there was like 10,
Okay.
so a couple of guys are going to be knocked out of it. It'd be kind of bad if Ronnie Mac's knocked out before the program even hits.
Yeah, I don't. I think that he rides that bike extremely well.
Yep.
And it's, although it is a 98, 99,
It's a
Don't
98.
matter.
CR250?
It's tuned.
Oh,
It's
he
tuned.
said-
That bike is tuned. Yeah, absolutely.
And then you got some PBR behind it. It's going to be strong.
A little throttle lubrication.
Oh, man.
No, John Ames and I forget who else was kind of late in there, but I think there's going to be a couple guys maybe kicked out of it.
Yeah.
But then again, depending on qualifying times, I could see somebody being paid some money. Hey, go sit in your van. Here's your check.
Yeah.
We got to have Ronnie Mack in here.
I don't think. Yeah, but didn't he race it? Did he race it last year?
Oh yeah.
In the regular 250
yeah.
class.
Oh,
And how
yeah.
did he do?
He beat
Fast.
someone.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
I forget who it was.
Yeah, he didn't get knocked out the first round.
Yeah.
Well, then I don't see him getting knocked out of the two-stroke class.
There's
He
some
said
of
he's
that-
going to run that front end high. That's what he said. I'm just telling you.
So, that's next weekend, correct?
No, it's this weekend.
It's this weekend.
This weekend.
You betcha.
Oh, good. So I'll be able to watch it. Heck yeah.
Oh, man.
You know what I like about what Red Bull is doing is they just air it live on the internet for free. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to have a dish provider or you don't have to have Comcast or a provider. You just go to redbull.tv.
Mm-hmm.
There it is for free. The full level production that you would get at a Supercross race, except free, costs $0. All you have to have is an internet connection or a mobile phone.
You should think about that about OTB, where people can get this shit for free instead of having to pay all the big money. To
Hey,
get
they
this.
don't have to pay a goddamn dime. But we do thank our Patreon subscribers like Josh Hudson and Bart Shiflett.
Yeah, I dime know it was free. Jeez.
I
didn't
pay
get the
money.
memo.
Here
Yeah.
this whole time, you guys have been paying.
Damn.
I'm a firm believer. So Supercross, they offered the new subscription package for Supercross. I hope that it works out better than the MXGP subscription was initially, because I know a lot of people were the Outdoor Nationals, because I know a lot of people were struggling with that NBC Gold pass, and that it wasn't working for a lot of people. Now, I don't know if that was Wi-Fi related or provider related or what the issues was, but those are problems that I'm sure they'll have seamed out. And I see, in my opinion, and I'm of the age of everything should be free. People should be able to pay for it if they wish to. The same as our show. It's free. If you like the show, throw a couple bucks at us. You get free stickers every month. You get to help us, and we give you something in return aside from just being able to listen to the show. And like, whether you're a free listener and you just listen to it on iTunes or Stitcher, or you subscribe to us on Patreon, we love you ultimately either way. I wish that Supercross, and they have the possibility and the power to do this, I wish they would just broadcast it live off of their own package online, where you go to supercrosslive.com, 7 o'clock, the races start. That's all you have to do. And what they could do, Bart, is they can get their own advertisers. They don't have to pay the network. They don't have to buy the TV time. And they're getting all of the money, as opposed to having to spend as much money as they do on producing the TV package for not everybody to be able to see it.
No, Jeff, you're living in the world of everybody has high-speed internet and everything's hunky-dory and great.
Yeah.
Man, where I live, I don't have internet.
But you don't have internet, period?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, other than a MiFi or a cell service, but that don't stream well. And so ease of use.
Yeah.
You're assuming that the whole country has great Google.
Yeah.
The best internet. That isn't there yet. So I'm thinking more along the lines of, I hope the TV package is still the same. I can have out at my barn. I can have, my Supercross party, I can have everybody out there, and I hope they broadcast the same and live like they've always done. Because, I mean, well, I'm messing with my phone here. I want to do Facebook Live. I want to do stuff out here.
Yeah.
In this wonderful studio you got, and the internet or the cell phone reception sucks here.
Right.
So,
and we're in town.
Yeah, we're in town. So just because you would like to see that package, or you would like to see it stream live, free, with their own advertising, and screw the TV package, I need the TV package.
Okay, see, now let me add on to that. I'm not necessarily saying no TV package whatsoever, because obviously there's a need for it still. Not everyone has high-speed internet. No, not everybody has HughesNet or a way to get...
No, screw HughesNet. That don't work for streaming a full good package.
So I would like to see the because here's the thing. I don't have TV at my house. I have high-speed internet. I have AT&T internet. You know what I do whenever the races come on? I get on Reddit. I type in Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports. I type in on Google Fox Sports 1 stream, and then and Reddit on Google, and it takes me to the exact subreddit that has the master stream cast. So there's an entire page that's about this long of free streaming. All you do is just find the channel that you're looking for, click that button, and then you're watching the TV broadcast.
And it'd be way easier if you just got in your car, drove to the house. We have the barn party going. You can argue with Doug Stone and and talk about who sucks, who's paid too much, and how screwed Doug got over racing for years.
Yeah. That is an option. Yes, absolutely. Right. Now, that's not always an option, but that is an option. and don't get me wrong, I love doing stuff like that, and it's nice. But for Red Bull Straight Rhythm, or I'm sorry, for the Monster Cup, I watched it on YouTube Live. Now, I wonder how the executives at Feld are trying to explain to their investors and to their the advertisers, hey, by the way, we're getting 200,000 illegal downloads of our product, and we're not seeing any of the money back from that. Because, okay, let's say if Toyota is a title sponsor of Supercross. Here's a perfect example. Toyota says, okay, each Supercross race is getting 1 million live plays on TV. And that's an arbitrary number. I don't actually know what it is.
So Toyota has those numbers?
Yeah, that's right. Feld goes to Toyota and says, hey, here's how many people are watching the races. Here's how many people are buying tickets. Here's how many people are tuning in on all of our available channels. Now, those are the Supercross official available channels. But they can't go to Toyota and say, hey, Motocross in Pictures, the YouTube channel, is recording our races on Streamcast and then is playing it the next day, and they're getting 25,000 views within 24 hours.
Why can't they give them that number?
Because it's not their number. You see what I'm saying? It's an unverifiable account. So that's I don't know. Because
they could also say we're approximately getting another 30,000 watches on.
Yeah, secondhand stream.
Yeah, whatever.
Right, but they may be able to say that, but they can't say we're charging this much. We want you guys to pay us X amount per view because those aren't their views. And then also, the other thing is, if you watch any of the videos on YouTube on the Supercross official YouTube, there's a Toyota ad at the beginning, and then there's an O'Reilly's pop-up at the bottom. Now, for every video or view that is streamed off of another account, Feld is not getting their money. Now, whoever is uploading the streams, they're still getting the advertiser dollars. Now, obviously, they're illegally making that money, but there's no real way to stop it until they run there's a program that they have that searches for their copyright So like the same exact audio or the same exact video, they will upload their cast, but it doesn't always pull someone else's stream or play on the YouTube. So like, let's say you're offering a product and then I record your product and then load it onto my YouTube channel, but you don't have the ability to search and copyright for what I've illegally uploaded until 12, 15, 24 hours later. Well, the average person that's gonna pay attention to the motocross, supercross races, they're not watching it, 2-3 weeks down the road. It's if the races are on the West Coast and I'm going to the motocross track on Sunday and I don't have a DVR, I'll watch it on YouTube on the way to my track or on the way to the track on Sunday.
Is that legal to drive and watch that on YouTube?
While my girlfriend is driving.
Oh, okay.
Or
Nice
my pit crew chief.
Right.
You have a crew chief?
I do have a crew chief.
Okay.
Holy moly.
I'll have to talk to Big Jerry about this.
So my point is, they need to figure out a way to just stream the races on YouTube or on Facebook Live to where the people that are watching on other means, they can generate money off of that. Because you're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars that they're losing out on. I'm not at liberty to say how much money that Feld makes off of YouTube clicks, but
Don't get in trouble. Don't get in trouble.
It's enough amount of money to where, I'll say this much. The three of us sitting at this table don't make this much in 5 years collected. So, and that's off of one season of YouTube plays. Now, that's not to include, now every single race has 15 to 25,000 plays on the one YouTube channel that I subscribe to. Now, sure, they get their they get the videos pulled, but it was up there for a while, long enough for me to watch the races.
Then answer the question: why does Feld not have it live on YouTube or loaded to YouTube immediately? Why does Feld not do that?
I can tell you because of their
agreement with the TV channel.
Yeah.
Well, the TV channel's live. Why there's not some agreement that 10 minutes after the live show's ended, we want to be able to post it? Why? It's just, I don't get it. I guess I just don't get it. But it shouldn't be that difficult. Okay, we're not going to have YouTube going live.
Right.
It's going to be 10 minutes afterwards.
So here's the thing, Bart. Now, on the Supercross YouTube page, see, whenever I was uploading inside track videos,
right,
I saw everything that they have. I saw their master playlist. And the second that the race is over, they're uploading. Now, I don't know why they don't make that public. I guess that it would be their agreement with Fox, but I mean, the videos are there. The entire broadcast is on YouTube. It's just a private video to where nobody can see it.
Okay, here's the problem.
Okay.
That right there tells you how much of a shit show our sport is.
Yeah.
Because it's not, honestly, Josh, it's not funny. It's a bummer deal.
Yeah.
Because if our sport was so strong, it would have enough viewership on Fox Sports 2, whatever it's on.
Yeah.
Okay, they're happy with that. Okay, what you do with it now that the live show's done, do it. Or if Feld ain't hurting. Feld's doing
just
excellent.
Fine. Yeah.
Just they ain't hurting for nothing. But why Feld can't negotiate with the TV networks and put it to where once the live feed is done, we're YouTubing it.
Yeah.
It's for everybody else to see. But if the networks are, oh no, you can't do that because we're selling the tape delayed deal to this channel for whatever.
Yeah, that's got to be what it is because they'll play it, a
because
few days later.
It is tape
Yeah.
delayed. It's played elsewhere. But that tells you right there, everybody wants our sport to be the biggest thing in the world, and it's not. It unfortunately it's not.
Right.
And that's such a bummer because okay, you have, Jeff, you're watching shit on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't have internet. I'm trying to watch it over my satellite dish. We're always in this battle of, man, crap, I missed part of that. I didn't get it recorded. When am I going to see it again?
Yeah.
I can't get on the internet. I can't watch it. But, man, that's what it boils down to. We're still a little shit show side thing.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that I think Feld is still making money hand over fist,
Hey, bring that mic a little. It's easy to. No, you get where you're comfortable, and you just. Bring that.
I'm laying back in my chair. But there's no reason it shouldn't be available both ways. Both ways.
I agree entirely. There's no reason. Now, obviously, there's a lot that I don't know about what their financial workings are, but what I have seen and what I do know from my time with them is that it should be easier to access on their direct channel. I mean, you watch the end credits on the Fox Sports telecast, it says property of Feld Sports. This has been a production of Feld Entertainment, so on and so forth. It has the Feld logo all over it. Now, I don't know what their agreement is with Fox. I text Boyer about it to see if it's something that we can do legally, or if that we need like written permission for it, the same way that like anytime that you listen to a baseball game or watch a baseball game, before they start the cast, they say written or audio description of this cannot be done without express written
consent,
permission from Major League Baseball.
Right.
Whereas I don't know what the deal is with Supercross, because we want to do a companion podcast every Saturday night where we sit here and watch the races on a television, and then we record it, and we figured out the way to go live on Facebook. We have the whole deal figured out. So from this new recording unit that we've got a way to plug that thing into...
I mean, this janky little box sitting here.
I didn't say.
Yeah. Hey, you paid for it.
At least I know where my money's going.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a lot better than the socks last time.
Yeah. So we figured out the exact way to route out of that to where Facebook hears the direct recording of what's going on through here into the computer in live time. So then we can put the computer over here, the TV up there, and then record us on Facebook Live. So the point is, instead of, let's say you want to listen or you want to watch the Supercross, but you're one of these people that absolutely hate Ralph Shaheen and can't stand the same exact keys to the race, the same exact broadcast every weekend, audio or description of the race.
I'm glad you bagged on Ralph instead of Jeff.
Yeah, you can turn the audio off and turn the audio of Facebook Live up. It's as simple as that, to where you can listen to us on our professional recording equipment now, and it's a companion podcast, and you can listen live. Now,
so you're talking about like you guys have gone 3 steps above Mike broadcasting in his living room.
That's where I got the inspiration for it, is his live from the living room Facebook Live videos that have, one of them almost has 1 million plays. We can capitalize on that and turn it into our own show.
And if this happens, you can take the tube sock off of the mic here and
correct,
really clean things up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, if you do this, will you be Facebook, or I mean, will you be going live and you'll be seeing the race, or just hearing you guys talk about it?
You can, no, you can only hear it. You'll be, okay, so now here's the catch.
Because I would think if you were broadcasting the race, that's
we're
where
not.
your
No.
issues are.
So you watch this.
Phil will be knocking on that door over here. That's locked.
Real quick.
We're in this private studio that's all locked in.
Yeah,
and
we have bodyguards out there.
Right.
They'll take care of them.
Right.
So you watch the race on your TV,
mm-hmm.
and then we come through the speakers of
It's just like watching a baseball game and listening to it on radio.
Exactly the same thing. Same system. It's like watching Chiefs games and listening to 101.
But you're saying you can't do that currently? Because you're violating a deal?
We have to get the permission for it. And
Okay.
I text Boyer about it, and he had the brown bottle flu, so I didn't get it, an answer of it either way. But I'm going to talk to Prater about it and see what his idea of it is. And I mean, Dave and I are friends.
But that ain't like a handshake deal. You guys would have to have like a written contract kind of deal.
And that's why I want to get it nailed down as soon as possible if it's a thing that we can do. And again, in my opinion, this is only something that will grow our sport and the accessibility of the sport that much further.
So did Mike's living room broadcast help what you guys want to do? And did Mike's going to a couple outdoor nationals and doing a little bit of announcing there help? I mean, have you guys got your foot in the door where they're like, okay, these aren't some fly-by-night, like goofy guys that don't know what's going on. We might think about this kind of deal. I mean,
so Scott, Mike's phone number is in the phone of Tim Fend, of Dave Prater, of Todd Gendro.
Do you know Mike's phone number is in my phone too?
I've got it.
And right.
Everyone has that number.
Everybody's got that number.
Jeez.
I got off the bathroom wall at the truck stop over here on the corner.
Exactly. And he's also in Combs's phone.
Yeah.
And he's in who's like the right hand man to Combs at the motocross races.
Tim Cotter?
Tim Cotter.
Yep.
Bam.
So
damn, we're good.
And if I walked up to Coombs, he would know who I was, but I'm not in his Rolodex. And then the Supercross guys, obviously I know all of them. So yes, they do know that we're not just some jokers from this flyover state that are yelling into a computer.
I mean, obviously you got this badass studio. So.
We've got the badass studio. We've got the professional equipment. We've got the professional recording studio table, which is penultimate.
Right.
So now all we have to do is just get the written permission for it. And we'll end up signing a contract to see if they're okay with it. I think it will provide accessibility because it's recorded audio and people listen to obviously our recorded audio, not whenever it's happening. People are going to listen to the audio and our account of the races afterwards. See, it's like we can sit here. See, the thing is we can sit here and shoot the shit about the races and talk about stats, recaps, position finishes, who rode what, who did what corner and what way, who took out who, so on and so forth. Now, we can do all that. Now, the question is, can we do a live take, a live recount of the races and air that on Facebook Live? Now, because we're not broadcasting the TV package and we're not broadcasting anything that Fox does, we're just sitting here and watching the TV and saying what we see on the TV the same exact way that they do it on the telecast. Because those guys are not watching the races, they're watching the TV.
Yep.
Now,
you have to.
Right. Now,
you can't be talking about the guy
in 17.
Yeah, that don't work. Oh my God, Billy Bob just threw it away on the triple.
That's what Carmichael was so good at. Like, something be happening off camera. Woo!
So, and then also we would have to get a hold of which would not be hard to do, I don't think, but they have like the Supercross press form and then the Supercross in numbers book, and I think that we could get copies of that. So, with our connections with Feld on both of our behalfs, I think that it's something that we can do, and it's something that we want to do because there are so many people that do not like listening on TV because it is so ABC 1, 2, 3 square triangle circle.
Okay,
breakdown of the races.
But let me ask this question: Would I don't want to kick you and Mike in the nuts, neither one of you guys, but would Feld consider like giving you the rights to put it on YouTube with you guys announcing, doing the play-by-play, because you are, and I hate to use a Mathis reference, a janky little radio show. Would Feld consider it because you guys aren't a threat to him? You're a small base, a small following. Mm-hmm. I mean, personally, I'd rather listen to you and Mike give the play-by-play and watch it on YouTube, other than I don't have internet.
Right.
But would Feld maybe let you guys slide until all of a sudden they're going, oh, shit, they got 100,000 people listening to them. Or they got, maybe the number isn't 100, maybe it's 50.
Yeah.
They've got 50,000 people watching them. We're going to shut them down. You know, could that happen? Let's back up. Would they give you permission until, I don't know if Feld will do that, but would Feld give you the permission to say, you know what, guys, we like you, you're good. Yeah, go ahead and have your radio show. And then all of a sudden they're going to go, oh, shit, this is getting some people. We're losing people off of our deal. Or, you know.
Yeah. I think your biggest thing is, how does Feld make money off of your deal?
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's all that they're just in it for, making money.
Right now, Feld's like, it's not going to cost us anything. We're not losing anything.
Yeah.
But if all of a sudden you got 50,000, whatever, they're like, oh shit.
Yeah, I don't see a company.
They're going to have to buy the rights to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see a company that big, though, being like that. Oh, we'll give it to you now. I think they want to know what's in it for them. That's the only reason they're in business.
So what gave me the idea to do this also is Joe Rogan does the UFC Fight Companion podcast, where, now the thing is, he also works for UFC. He's very tight with the guy that owns UFC.
Yeah, but they don't talk a lot about the UFC if you've ever listened to them.
No, I have listened to him.
I've tried to catch up on fights by listening to them. I'm like, oh, never mind.
No, it's just as much shit talking as it is anything else.
Yeah.
Now, however, they still call it in the podcast UFC Fight Companion. So not only are they using the
moniker,
the monitor, but they're using the name UFC in the podcast. Now, obviously, Joe Rogan's a little bit bigger than the Over the Bars podcast.
I'm a lover, not a fighter, so I don't know what. I'm lost.
Do you remember the show Fear Factor?
Yes.
He was the host of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Now he's also has the biggest podcast.
Yeah.
And it's called the Joe Rogan Experience. I think you'd like it, Bart.
Does it have to do with dirt bikes?
No.
Yeah, I'm out.
Okay.
My drive to work's only about 17 minutes. I'm out.
So, I think that I would like to do that simply to satisfy the number of people that, would almost rather watch the races on mute. And like I said, we can do it live too. We've got the technology figured out of how to do the stream live, to where, like I said, you've got your TV, right? And then you hook up. You've got your computer sitting directly underneath the TV or wherever, and then you got a Bluetooth speaker, because most sound bars are Bluetooth. You just Bluetooth your audio output into the sound bar, and then you've got Over the Bars calling the races instead of Ralph and Jeff.
Holy shit! Did you just see Vince Freeze take out Benny Bloss?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess the question is, Jeff, Josh has got the voice for radio. He doesn't have the voice, the face.
No,
he doesn't have the face. I've got the face, but don't have the voice. Would Josh or I, either one, ever be invited to do play-by-play?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Well, let me make a phone call to Feld. We'll get this going. That's all you need to say.
How about this? How about you call Pete Fox?
Sure.
And we'll have him help negotiate the deal.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little Kenny Rocks, we'll talk to him a little bit.
You do know that Pete Fox has nothing to do with Fox.
Shh. He doesn't.
Hold on. Is Pete Fox Shocks?
No.
You're good. Are we still on Hot Topics?
Yeah, we are.
Did you see the Instagram post about KTM electric bike 2.0 version?
No, what?
Yeah. I thought you would be a little interested.
Something different than the free ride?
No, it's still the free ride, but it's
What the hell?
second generation.
Oh, I did see that.
Did you see that?
It's got a fucking headlight and a kickstand on it.
I know, but I'm just...
Dude,
you know.
you know how many headlights and kickstands are sold over non-kickstand bikes, right?
Way more. Way more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good looking bike, and don't get me wrong, I would have a hell of a time riding that motorcycle.
You just were saying on the last podcast, you're like, KTM, if they come up with an Alta type.
I think that
That's not an Alta type.
No, that one's not.
That's like halfway between an enduro and a trials bike, the way it looks. Now, the day that they come out with the motocross racer electric bike, you will find me there. I'll be the first one in line with a deposit waiting on it.
If it's $17,000?
Well, if it's within reasonable price of what
he's making this podcast money.
Yeah.
You and I are paying him.
That's right.
He's good.
Yeah,
Do I get a ride?
Money after he pays us.
cashing those OTB checks.
Oh boy.
Okay, we talked about a little bit about you guys want to do Supercross coming up.
Yeah.
Do some the play-by-play, whatever. I gotta know, because I'm like a total outsider. I know nothing at all. What bike's Chad Reed gonna ride?
Well, it's either a Honda or a KTM.
But there was an Instagram post today of a Husky with a 22 on it.
Absolutely, and it looked kind of badass.
With orange hubs.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah. I would assume that it had the SX axle unit, because they're different, aren't they?
There was a little bit of hint that it actually had Showa suspension on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Pro Circuit,
And nice.
Showa
And
stuff. Yeah.
Dan Truman from Get
Yeah.
was there working on the ignition and stuff, but I couldn't tell, but it did look, it wasn't WP suspension on it. So that I found kind of interesting.
I mean, obviously, I'm just as curious as the next guy as to what he's going to race this year.
Yeah.
Now, would I love for it to be... that got posted after I've been on... Yeah, I didn't see that one. That's cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is Showa.
I mean, he's been riding everything.
Yeah, he has.
And I know he
it's
wanted
his-
to be on KTM, so yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah.
I'm curious also.
But he couldn't be on Rocky Mountain ATV because of his gear contract deal,
Yep.
right?
Yep, exactly.
Oh, because he's with Fox?
Yep.
Yeah, because they're a fly team.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
And okay, so like the biggest thing that I'm like kind of freaked out on, JGR has obviously 2 450 guys for Supercross. We know that's Bogle.
Mm-hmm.
We know that's Pike.
Yeah.
Which Bogle's little digger. You got to question how much time does he take off for that little dirt nap?
Couple weeks.
No, he'll be good.
I don't know. That one may be a little longer in a couple weeks. But anyway, they have a 250 team. Who have they announced?
Jimmy D.
Dakotas.
And who else? Number 1 plate.
Oh,
Yeah, Justin.
Yeah, Justin Hill.
Justin Hill. yeah.
Okay. They say Supercross, 4 guys.
Nicoletti.
That's supposedly one, then he's going to go to 450 outdoors.
Yeah.
But they haven't really like officially announced that. But who's the other guy?
I don't know. Do you?
I'd love to see Jeremy Sewer. But that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, I heard he's out.
So,
Nah, well, I don't know.
speaking of Sewer, Christie's told me today that he uses starting blocks. I guess
Is he short?
Yeah, I guess he's only like 5'5". That he's a really little dude.
It's my new
Wow.
favorite rider.
You know that's why. Yeah. You know that's why.
That's my guy.
Taryn O'Dell quit racing outdoor nationals.
Because they couldn't do starting blocks no more.
They wouldn't let him use starting blocks.
That's
yeah.
bullcrap.
That's the
There's
dumbest
dirt
thing.
clods.
Yeah.
There's dirt clods. There's
Rocks. And,
Yeah. But I don't think they would even let him use anything to aid. I mean, they may have just wanted him out, because Taryn was always a trouble starter.
No. Taryn found... Can we say pussy?
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say Jesus. He found Jesus. But
No, I mean,
Different.
and party favors Friday nights,
Right,
whatever.
yeah.
There was other things that, at a pro level, I mean, Tony Lessing, everybody's, the best ever at finding dirt clods, rocks, whatever. You don't have to have starting blocks.
I guess not. Again, that was hearsay, but
Yep.
that's what we do. We on this podcast,
Yes.
we throw unverified facts and information out there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And we stick to it.
Okay, so
You
we still got
betcha.
one more spot.
Okay.
I'm going to ask Jeff, you first. You know or so you've said in previous podcasts, the Suzuki 250 is the biggest turd there is. I mean, who's out there without a contract you'd like to see on that bike?
Mitchell Harrison? Or did he get signed?
Nope. He's gone for a tryout,
Yeah.
but,
Really?
yep. But he's not on. He's not like, nobody said that yet.
Right.
And I'm,
I heard an interview with
See, I didn't know that he was to be decided.
I heard an interview with Jeremy Albrecht that he sent out 3 contracts last week.
okay, well, we already
When
said
one was
that.
Jimmy D.
Yep. Dakotas. Okay. Jeff's
We've got studio, this high-class studio deal. We got some adjustments going on.
Okay, so they've said Dakotas, Hill, and you got to assume Nicoletti's one of the 3 for Supercross.
Right.
Still got a 4th.
Okay.
Once again, my biggest deal was if you can get. I mean, me personally, I asked you who you'd like to see on it, and Josh. Me personally, I'll go ahead and say it. I think it'd be cool to see if they could get Sewer over here, but they say he's maybe locked into a Kawasaki 450 deal on MXGP. But I think it'd be cool. You take somebody that talented, he can get through Supercross season, hopefully, and then I think he'd be awesome at outdoors. But how much money does it take to get him here? And then,
But do you start him in outdoors instead of
no,
Supercross?
screw it.
Really?
Throw him in Supercross.
I think if anybody can do it, he could.
Yeah, he's rode some of the European Supercross stuff. He,
Yeah.
don't tell me that dude don't have a Supercross track on wherever he practices.
Yeah.
He's got one. But they're still keeping pretty tight-lipped. They say there's going to be 2 East, 2 West for Supercross for sure, not necessarily outdoors.
Right.
But who's that dude?
I don't know. That's a good question. A lot of room for speculation there.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that Hill's going to have the number 1 plate at JGR.
Yep.
Yeah.
They couldn't win one, so they bought one.
Oh,
Hey.
boy. Oh, my. Oh, wow. I think they tried that one other time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well either, did
No, not really.
it? And it wasn't all Suzuki's fault then.
Well,
And is Justin Hill just Supercross?
No.
Oh, boy. They wasted
he goes to a
money on that.
450 outdoors, doesn't
No.
he? No. It's
No.
250 outdoors still?
Nicoletti goes 450 outdoors,
Okay.
but Hill and Dakotas should be.
I think Dakota's a Supercross only.
So then the last spot
But I don't know.
has to be an outdoor deal also then.
Yeah.
Nah, it's interesting.
Jeez.
Hey, here's a question, and this is just random thinking about Suzuki. Is Cole Gress still with the company?
No,
When did he leave?
I don't know that.
Do you have any idea where he went?
Personally, I thought he was kind of a douchebag. I didn't really pay attention.
Shots fired.
And I'd hate for that to get back to the guy, but I dealt with him on the phone. I tried to get him to get Austin Fortner, stay on Suzuki. I talked to him a bunch, emailed back forth, whatever. Met him plenty of times. He was just a different character for me to try to deal with.
It was anytime that I called him, anytime I have a sponsor, I'm emailing or calling or figuring out who it is that I can call and say, hey, thanks a bunch. And whenever I had the American Suzuki deal through Golden Valley and then through you, I mean, it was his program. And I couldn't get a hold of him, and I sent him an email, and he might respond with a, cool, thanks. Which, I mean, I don't know what I expected because I know he's got a lot on his plate. But, like, there was a couple times that I called the guy and would tell him about races, and it was I got the vibe that he could not wait to get off of the phone.
He was too busy working out the deal with Dungy.
You know, I lost.
I know.
No,
I heard from
no.
I lost my right.
Okay, so here's one of the deals that, I mean, it's no secret. I bleed yellow. We talked about that before. When Austin Faulkner was riding for me, and no, I didn't give him a ton of bikes. I didn't make no money off Mike. I did everything at my cost. Mike would, at the end of a Missouri State weekend, he'd give me a motor. I would rebuild the motor. I'd do the crank. I never charged him labor. I'd freshen everything up for him, give it back to him. Austin went down to Loretta's and 7-Eleven stock modified, won both classes, stock motor, fresh bike, new bike, everything. He just made, in the 85 class, he made that thing look awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking to Mike, and I said, hey, at the awards thing, did Cole come up? Did you talk to him? Whatever. And he goes, yeah, we talked a little bit. And he said, yeah, we'll get you fixed up. So then, Mike's an old farmer kind of guy. He's like handshake kind of deals, whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, Mike, did you get something worked out with Suzuki for next year? I don't want to keep, trying to do all this stuff or everything on my shoulders. Hopefully Suzuki's going to help you out. And he's like, well, yeah, Cole says, yeah, it won't be a problem getting you a bike and get you a parts allowance or whatever. And I'm thinking, a bike?
Yeah.
Kawasaki come up and said, we're going to get you 6 bikes and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. So then I talked to Cole later and I said, Cole, what's going on? We don't want to lose this kid. We want to keep this kid on. We want to do this. And he's like, well, it was a little weird. Mike didn't really want to sign nothing. He didn't really want to talk. I'm like, no, he probably had fucking 3 tractors running out there. He didn't have time to chit chat on the phone. He had work to do. Well, yeah, we told him we'd give him a bike and unlimited parts and whatever. And I'm like, okay, if do I need to give him 2 bikes? What do we need to do to keep him on yellow? Well, he seems like he's wanting to go another direction. And I'm like, oh shit. So there was some things even up to that, man, I just didn't get Cole. I didn't understand him. I didn't get it. It was a strange person to be in that position. A lot of times I feel like in the position he was in, you got to be a little bit of an ass kisser, brown noser, whatever you want to call it. That dude was not that.
No.
He was not that.
Was that when they were kind of drawing back on their amateur support and stuff? Or?
A tiny bit before, but about the end of that deal is when 08, 09 shit hit the fan.
Right.
Industry went in the toilet, and everybody pulled back some. But honestly, Suzuki Japan is the most conservative of all the companies there is. When they seen the writing on the wall, they're like, okay, we're cutting all this stuff.
Yeah.
But if Cole would have stepped up and said, okay, we're going to give you 3 bikes and unlimited parts, Austin would have stayed on him, I think.
Yeah.
He liked the bike. He rode it awesome. He ran a stock pipe, stock cylinder. He liked the motor, the power delivery. He liked the bike. But Kawasaki said, no, we're going to give you 6 bikes, all these parts.
Yeah.
And Mike's apologized to me. I said, Mike, you don't apologize.
Yeah.
Take it, run.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Whatever. I'm excited for Austin.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Changing gears, have you guys been reading about how I read on Motocross Action today how they're forecasting what the possible format changes in Supercross?
They're going to make everybody put 1 tooth bigger on the rear.
Oh, boy. All orange helmets.
Oh, my God, dude. Some of the stuff that they were saying in this article, it's like,
I have not read their article.
Jeff, I have a feeling you know what's going to change in Supercross.
I do. I know, but I can't just spill it.
Okay, we got steel grates.
Well, I mean, that's changing. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Do you think that's a good idea?
No.
Josh says no.
No.
I'm on board with it.
My problem
saying
is
that to be different.
No. Jeff's he's the new he's young. He's like, give me my free insurance, give me my
oh boy.
welfare,
Oh boy.
Jeff's like, give me my even start gate. I don't want to work for a better qualifying position to get that awesome, that I don't
right.
I want that inside the box. I want that perfect spot. Just give it to me. I want everybody to be the same. It's all equal. We want everybody to be the same. Equal opportunity.
I want equal opportunity, not equal outcome.
Okay, equal opportunity means equal opportunity. Everybody leaves the start gate even. You end up with 20 guys side by side going in a forced corner that's made for 5 people. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have people piled up, stacked up, elbows crossed, guys wadding up because,
Sounds exciting.
They don't care if it's a race. They just want it to be entertaining, however that happens.
God, I hate saying back in the day.
No, say it.
Did you not? I mean, okay, at a local race, do you not beg do you not hope that the computer generated your number to be first gate pick?
Absolutely. Well,
so
usually,
you can pick the best spot.
I like to be second pick almost.
Yeah. If it's
but I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
If it's some B rider that's just stepped up to A, you don't give a crap if he's first gate pick. You're going to pick where you want to pick. You don't care where he's at. But on Supercross, I've watched those guys. The mechanics are down there earlier. They're looking. There's theory. There's, you got to pick that spot that's going to work. And you can only farm behind the gate. You can't farm in front of the gate. So a lot of those guys are looking in front of the gate before they're looking at the back. But the back of the gate still has an important role in your start. Mm-hmm. That's gone. I don't know.
It definitely takes away a technique or a strategy.
So every bike's got...
So do recluse clutches.
Yeah. No. Out there, bull crap. Recluse clutch has nothing to do with the start. Nothing.
I know.
Nothing.
I was referring...
If they crash, you're calling me old because in the woods, on the side of that cliff, and the
He's
rocks
talking about
and the
your cheater
roots,
bike on the trails.
I'm telling you, I'll cheat like a sumbitch there.
Yeah.
But on the motocross track, the only thing that a recluse clutch can do, if you crash, your motor doesn't stall.
Right.
Period. It doesn't help nothing else.
Stand by 1 second. I want to check something.
Oh, boy.
Okay, we're good. Yeah, so you were saying?
The clutch, whole shot device, traction control, engine management, there's too many variables in there that affect, on a pro level, Supercross start. Now you're throwing in the gates. The grates.
Eliminating the gate, essentially.
Yeah. No, the gate's still there. It still drops.
Right.
But, man, where's the... I guess you still got to let go of the clutch. But everybody's going to launch pretty even. I want to see... I don't know. I still want to see the fast qualifier pick the good spot. If you're the 5th qualifier, you should be able to have an equally good spot. And I don't agree with that. Because now you're taking away in heats and everything. And some guy that's running 3rd, he's like, screw it. Or fuck it. I'm still going to get a 5th or 6th gate spot, and it's close enough to the box. It doesn't matter what the rut's like. It doesn't matter.
Ooh.
It doesn't matter. So I don't like it. But I don't know if you're...
But if everyone's getting an equal jump, so the guy on the inside. So I think there's still a little bit of, if I do good, I can, in qualifying, I'm going to get a better gate pick. You know what I'm saying? I think maybe qualifying, heat races, all that, I think it'd be cool to divvy out points on that too, so guys would...
So I'm going to draw this really quickly. And here,
Okay, Jeff's gonna tell us how if you win a heat race now you get extra points. If
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Guys really try.
Okay, so now what I've drawn here is something that looks like a floppy hat. So if the box is in the middle of the starting gate, and then the first corner is right here, and this is pretty typical of Supercross, where the very inside gate is actually inside of the first corner.
Yep.
Now, typically here, the first two insides, and maybe the first two outside gates are
non-prime.
Yeah, non-prime. Exactly. Now, the inside, right along, typically, and what I noticed from doing inside track, is the first 5 to 6 gates on the inside of the box are the heavy favorites. Now, sure, they're also typically, those are the ones that see the most starts also. They get roached out the fastest. Now, yeah, the mechanics are picking for not only what's in front of the gate, but what's behind it. Well, now we've eliminated one part, so what's behind the gate. Now, however, coming into the first corner, whenever you've got these tough blocks on the inside here, these guys on the inside that are 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, qualifiers, so on and so forth, those guys still have to hit the tough blocks. They still have to come in and break first, coming into the first corner, before these guys, because the distance from, let's say, this fifth gate right here is shorter by this amount. You see, now this is basic geometry here. Now this guy...
Boy, I'm out on geometry.
Now this guy right here on the inside, actually, sure, he's going to have an equal jump, but he still has to go 10 feet further by going diagonal than this guy here, who's going perfectly straight into the first corner. This gate right here is always typically the first choice. Now, all that we've done is eliminate whether or not the shit behind the gate is bad. Sure. Now, this rut might be wavy. Okay, so then he picks this gate right here, and then one of the last guys is picking this rut because it's wavy. Now, taking in mind, this is Supercross. What do they do at Supercross? They prep the shit out of the starting line in the first corner between every race. So this stuff in front of the gate is prepped also because they're taking not a box blade, but
No, a lot of that right in front of the gate, I think, is left alone.
I think they do it pretty often, Bart. At least after the heat races, I know they're prepping that bitch out.
Towards if the track runs across it, they may, but I thought they left it alone about 15 feet out.
They may. So
I want to check your geometry because to this spot, I mean, I wish we had Facebook Live so we could show this fancy drawing. To this area here, not up here to the corner.
Bart is pointing halfway from the starting gate to the first corner.
If this inside guy gets it to here, he has control. Not on up to the corner or not up to here.
Right.
But take all that away. The launch itself...
Turn this. There you go. Yep.
The launch itself, to me, the rut you're in, the amount of lip to the gate, all that stuff plays into effect. It takes a little piece of that away. Is it more equal for the guys further out or whatever? I don't know. Maybe the factory guys are still going to get the jump. They have the better electronics. They have the better traction control. They have the better launch control. So it may not play into effect at all. Now it may not be any big deal.
How would you like to see the wild card Bubba Paulie pull the whole shot from the inside gate?
Ain't going to happen.
With a nice expanded corrugated metal gate, it might.
He still don't have the electronics.
I know.
I'd love to see the local St. Louis dude get the whole shot and lead the heat, whatever. Now, I mean, come on, we all want to see that, but he still doesn't have the best traction control, the best launch control, the best electronics that's there.
Tumble gears.
Yeah, tumble gears don't matter.
Well, for shifting, yeah, absolutely.
No, it don't.
What is it, Chad? Ceramic coated bearings.
Screw that.
But it's cool.
Honestly, in my opinion, and we already talked about this, Bubba Polly on a fresh, good 450 with a pipe suspension sub for Supercross. I think personally it has the horsepower to get the first corner, but he'd better have the electronics, the mapping, the engine control, the traction control to make it a usable power to get there. Because it's no secret, too much horsepower is not necessarily a good thing. But like I say, I think some of the Supercross numbers, the viewership, the people buying the tickets is off a little bit, so they're grabbing at things. Let's make some changes. As crappy and as goofy as it sounds, I don't know about the start great, that stuff, as much as bringing back possibly some bowl corners where you have guys squaring up, stuffing, passing going on with the nets.
Did you see those puny little nets they had?
Yeah. But if it brings back more of the big, bold corners to where guys can move around and not just go to the inside tough block, squared up, go, I think things like that can make the racing better.
Yeah.
And we all want racing to be better. So I don't know if the start grates are the one to do it. Me as a man, I wish RJ would put start grates or the start, extruded metal out there at Kingsville, so I didn't have to prep Towns Gate.
Right.
Man, I'd love that.
Yeah.
But on a pro level, I mean, man, it's just one more thing. It's taken out of the skill level or the skill set side of it. I don't know.
Motocross Action also projected that they're going to go to the Monster Cup format at some of the races.
3-up.
Yeah. Oh, you said that.
No.
That's what I've heard is 3 races. They'll have the Monster Energy Cup format.
I'm curious to see what they do and if they do decide that they are going to have that. Because now I don't know how much of it is the track at Monster Cup and how much of it is the 3-moto format, but I don't think the racing at Monster Cup was very good.
That's pretty thin field too.
Well, I
think that had a little bit to do with it.
Yeah,
but no, the racing was not good.
It was a thinner field, but I do wonder if a 3-moto format or 3-main format would make the racing better. And then also, this article on Motocross Action is pretty good.
Yeah,
they lay it out on every single thing that they think, and they went through the history of all the formats of Supercross, and the one that they were talking about that seemed to make the most sense was the format of taking. Okay, so you've got 4 heats of 20 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then they take the top 50%, and then you've got 2 heats of 22 guys.
Right.
And then you take the top 50%, and then that's your main event, which that's how they do it in flat track racing. And I think that's a pretty fair way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, and it also explains how the heat semi main format or heat semi LCQ main format gives the guys who want to be seen on the track the most amount of riding time. So
right.
Like, let's say your guys that are
Your privateer guys.
Let's say the guy who gets 5th place in the LCQ sees more track time than anybody else except for the 4 guys that qualified out of the LCQ. And typically, the top 4 qualifiers in the 450 class are...
Yeah, you see them just that first heat and then the main. Yeah.
And it does take away from the time that you see the top dogs racing. And I'd like to see that format implemented, honestly. It's a hell of an idea.
Yeah.
Will they do it? I don't know. And how good is it for TV? I don't know.
Right.
And I think that was also used before they had the 125, now 250 East-West division class. So there was, let's see, that would have been...
Did they say anything in that article about more East-West races?
From what I've seen is there's going to be more of those.
I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it just puts the top tier guys in there, head to head.
Aim that thing back over. Yeah, there you go.
Man.
I'd like to see that. It would be fun to see each coast race each other more often, the same way that we have interleague play in baseball. How sometimes we'll play the Seattle Mariners, even though they're an AL or an NL team, or we'll play the Rockies. They're not even in our division.
And then someone has to pitch who usually doesn't, or something.
Right, and it's exciting to see people outside of the AL Central. The same way that it's exciting to see Jimmy Dakotas race against Justin Heft, or to see Robbie Wageman race against Justin Starling, 2 guys that are predominantly East and West Coast. And those are just the names that I could pull out of a hat instead of some of the top guys, because they bounce back and forth between East and West so often. I mean, I'd like to see that. And I hope that the bowl corners do make a true return.
Well, I think that, some of the passing and some of the racing aspect, I think it could bring back some more excitement to it.
Now, bowl corners means higher speeds in the corners, which means more quads.
Yeah, throw a goddamn wall jump in front of it or out of the corner. I mean, they can slow them down if they want.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not an issue. I'm talking about coming into the corner and giving line options. And, I think it will open up possibilities for a little more passing and stuff instead of just one good inside rut that everybody's hitting.
Yeah.
Does it, throw a Tracy Freeman, throw a bump on the inside coming out, and where you can use the outside and go ahead and hit the quad as opposed to the triple, whatever. Right. But no, when they flattened all this stuff, who was that? Matt Gorky? Who launched into?
It was Matt Gorky.
Yeah.
Was the last one to launch into the
stands.
Oh, I was thinking Bonnie. I don't know why.
Same Matt.
Right. Yeah.
Same state even.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it, after that happened, Feld didn't say, hey, we need to cut down the bulls. The insurance company did.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Somebody in the stands might have got hurt.
Yeah. Exactly.
Forget the riders out there breaking limbs, but somebody in the stands might have got hurt.
Yeah. And then, I mean, obviously there's been a lot of talk about it going to a 22-race series. I don't know shit about that. I've heard it speculated, and
I think you do, and you're just not saying.
No, I really, truly don't know about that. And I've heard about the, going to Australia and racing 3 times over there and then coming back to the States.
Why Australia and not Europe?
Well, I think it's because of the ease of being in one place with a good market, same country, less logistical nightmare.
How many Australians do we know that big racers?
Matt Moss.
Okay. Keep going.
Jake Moss.
Jake Moss.
Did nobody watch the Motocross of Nations here recently? I mean, why would we not go to Europe and
Kirk Gibbs
park the bikes over there, park the equipment over there?
But again, I mean, sure, you're talking about great racing, Bart, but are we talking about ticket sales?
And don't they have
Yes.
not only the MXGPs, but they have like the British Championship and this
Right.
champion.
Yeah.
So I think they race like pretty much all year round.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, I'm not saying that Europe would be a bad idea. And Feld already does Monster Jam over in Europe. And there's even, I guess that there was talk for a while of them scheduling Monster Jam the weekend after the Supercross. And they actually do that a lot in America, where
Oh, yeah.
the Monster Jam series will follow the Supercross series in a lot of the stadiums.
Absolutely.
And they
Dirt's there.
Yep. So, I mean, that's an option, but I wouldn't mind, and I know that this is going to be a hot take and a controversial idea. I wouldn't mind if Feld made Supercross or if the sport turned to where Supercross was like the feature, where the pros, your top Ryan Dungey, Villapoto, Carmichael, where those names race at, and then the outdoor nationals are more like a development league. That wouldn't hurt my feelings at all. If the pro nationals went less of a core championship, yeah, whatever, Bart.
But if that's the development deal, they're racing outdoors, and from every time I hear the pros talk, like if you're good at outdoors, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be good at Supercross. So is that developing them for anything? Or
well,
You got Ricky Carmichael's road to Supercross with Arena Cross.
That's true.
You're in.
That's well. I mean, it's a segue to get there for sure. But my point is, look at all other professional sports are done in front of a crowd, in seats, with a beer garden or beer vendors. You see what I'm saying? Like,
so you're saying like the outdoors is just kind of like, almost lack of a better term, the B league.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
maybe they don't necessarily go to Supercross. They're just always a
It could
outdoor guy because maybe they're not good enough to go to Supercross.
the same way that there are sprint car drivers that make a living racing sprint cars and never step foot in NASCAR.
Sure.
But now, and I'm not saying that motocross is lame or that there shouldn't be star power in motocross. I'm just saying that in America, it would, in my eyes, only benefit the sport as a whole. Because like you just said, Bart, winning on Sunday does not translate into selling on Monday.
I'm just sitting here thinking the next time I run into my buddy Antonio Caroli, I'm going to say, hey, this Jeff Crutcher guy says you're B League.
Hey, I'm not talking about MXGP. I'm simply talking about America. Whereas, okay, let's say,
Okay, Jeremy Martin. Okay, never mind.
yeah,
Yowzers.
or here's a prime example: Carson Brown, the kid, Brown Brothers Racing, BBR.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that kid that has the KX125, and he's on Team Green Monster Kawasaki. So he still has to go race all. He still has to go to Loretta's. He's still going to do the amateur nationals. There are so many better tracks than where the amateur nationals are hosted at. Yet amateur day at outdoor nationals is a joke. They're 5-lap races. They cost $100 to race. I mean, you barely get any track time. Sure, you're racing on the national track, but there's really not much of a racing experience. Now, imagine if instead of, I mean, sure, you could have pro-ams. Well, I mean, pro-ams are great. We love having pro-ams. I love racing pro-ams. But I would never go to an outdoor national and race amateur.
What about a Pro-Am on a truck track?
You wouldn't find me there. Wouldn't find me there.
And we didn't.
My bike has 2 wheels. But if we made the outdoor I mean, here's the thing. The 85 riders are riding on Supercross tracks already because they're the future of the sport. Now, what does that say whenever you've got kids on 85s riding Supercross from November, or essentially before Mini-O's, because Mini-O's has a Supercross track, and I use Supercross pretty liberally. But they have a Supercross track, and then they go ride on the Supercross tracks because that's what the big boys are doing. And the kids want to emulate the big boys. And now that we've got places like Milestone that has a B grade Supercross track, or even KC Moto that has a B grade Supercross track. Kids are trying their hand at Supercross now because it's cool to do, because that's what the big boys are doing.
I'm glad I don't have an 85.
Jeff, did you look at Super Mini on the
Monster Cup?
Yeah, Monster Cup last weekend? Did you look at lap times?
No.
So let's say there's 20 invited kids.
Okay.
Not all of them, but a lot of them are getting factory support.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think there was 6, maybe 7 of them that belonged out there.
Mm-hmm.
Man, to say that the kids these days are riding Supercross early and whatever, yeah, they may be riding. You can't even call Mini O's a Supercross race. That ain't even close.
It's the closest thing to it.
No.
In what?
Throw them in arena cross or something with the finish line catapult, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
It's closer than what Mini O's is.
Mm-hmm.
What's the race at Guthrie that
Lazy E, the mini,
The mini major?
yeah, no, mini majors
that
West Coast. Yeah.
That ain't even close to arena cross or Supercross.
Right.
There is a lot of skill still to be developed. There's a handful of them kids that can ride that stuff. Austin was one of them. Stack did pretty good with it on a local level.
Mm-hmm.
There, Kobush did good with it. But honestly, you look at the lap times, and man, there's 10 to 15 seconds difference. Well, that tells me there's a lot of them kids, they're faster than shit in outdoors, but that's a whole different ballgame. So to say that a lot of these young guys are doing it at a younger age, yeah, some of them aren't, but there ain't a lot of them.
And I'm not saying that they're Supercross racers. I mean, obviously the cream rises to the top.
Yep.
But if I was riding a Supercross track on an 80 at the age of 13, don't you think if for 3 months out of the year I pretty much only focused on Supercross, then by the time that I was on a 250F and riding the pro ranks, I'd be a lot more comfortable on a Supercross
Absolutely.
track.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
So it's that natural progression of starting earlier and then being more comfortable, as opposed to now, like if I was, or whenever I was in my day and I wanted to race Supercross, the only way for me to race Supercross is just show up to the Supercross.
Go there.
Ring. Yeah.
But my deal is, you're talking about turning the outdoors into a qualifying series or a B-League type deal. Man, there's a shit ton of talent out there that could come out of that and transfer or work into a Supercross deal that maybe won't get the chance if it turns into the kind of the secondary series. I don't know if they really shine in that, they could get picked up, but I still kind of like going to Millville and walking my ass off, sweating my balls off, and getting to the highest part of the hill and watching the races. And
Yeah.
I guess that's the old school part of me, but man, a lot of them will be pissed off if they pull that out of the number one plate type of, they pull that out of the series where it doesn't count.
Okay, so sure, I'm with you there. The core enthusiast in me says, I still want to see Eli Tomac ride through a section like God himself would.
Right.
But that's not what professional sports do. All professional sports go into stadiums and they stay in stadiums. And there's a reason for that, because it becomes a convenience thing and it's more of a show. The same way that NBA isn't played in courts, outdoor courts, the same way that football is played in stadiums, the same way hockey's played inside of arenas. All of the major sports go indoors. If we want to be taken seriously as a major sport, we have two sports within our racing community, Supercross and motocross. They're two entirely different things, and success in one does not translate to the other for the average rider, like we just said. I don't see what the issue is with the division of the two. I mean, if if Supercross goes to a 22 race format and the teams commit to Supercross, then what is that? We're not talking about if Feld says, hey, this is what we're doing, if you want to be a part of it. Now, what does Monster Energy Kawasaki do? Do they give a shit about the Lucas Oil Outdoor Red Bull Nationals? No.
They have to make a decision on whether or not it's financially, makes sense for them to back it or do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think after what it costs to go to the Outdoor Nationals, which is more expensive than what it costs to go to the Supercrosses, as far as I'm concerned.
No, I think you're 100% right there.
Then why would a team chase it, especially whenever we're talking about, frankly, our sport is so dominated by the energy drinks?
Go back to win on Sunday, sell on Monday.
Yeah.
The people that are truly, truly buying from me motocross bikes, dirt bikes, ATVs based on a brand, based on what they follow, what they like. Honestly, I think a lot of people that pick that up from more maybe the outdoors than they do Supercross. TV time, sponsors and everything, it's Supercross related. But the true diehard fans that are spending the money, personally, I think they follow it closer maybe on outdoors.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But, like, how many...
But that doesn't translate into Honda generators, Yamaha pianos, Kawasaki mules,
right, yeah.
Whatever. I go to Supercross. I look at, the dude with the, business in front, party in the back. Has got the Kawasaki jersey on, whatever.
Yeah.
I see that stuff. But... And I know there's a bigger part of it, but the true diehard guys on buying the dirt bikes, buying the motocross bikes, buying the PW50s, whatever. They're the guys I see at Millville, dragging their cooler, hooting and hollering with their, air horns, with whatever. God dang, I don't want to see that go away.
I don't think that it would go away.
No,
I think it'd be completely different because you have an income stream on the Supercross side, and you have certain companies, Toyota and things like this, that they don't care if Suzuki sells a lot of bikes, or they're trying to
monetize.
Yeah. Supercross. So I almost think if they do that, I wonder if the manufacturers might pull back from Supercross a little bit and do more in the outdoors, because that's the guys that are buying the bikes and stuff, where Feld and then some of these outside sponsors just want more casual fans into Supercross.
Yeah.
That won't translate to the industry making money as, bike sales, gear sales, things like that.
I think
Does that make sense?
Yeah, we're talking about, and again, that's two entirely different demographics,
right,
catered towards two entirely different sports.
Right.
It just so happens that we have athletes that compete in two different sports that are raced on the same brand motorcycle. Aside from the color of the plastic, the setup for an indoor bike and an outdoor bike are pretty vastly different from axle to axle, handlebar to foot peg. So much about the bikes are entirely different. And I think a lot of the guys, if they could pick one over the other, they'd pick Supercross.
Absolutely.
Now,
I agree with that.
Say Weston Pike, or somebody that's like, or let's say even Phil Nicoletti. Let's say Nicoletti, who typically, let's say on an average weekend, he's getting 23rd in the 450 class, which is non-qualifying for the main. Now, would he be more inclined to go be the champ at Outdoor Nationals? Who knows? Maybe.
Right, yeah.
Maybe it would be more profitable for him to go win 5.
But you're not going to sell the Outdoor Nationals at all on Nicoletti being the champ.
No.
That's not going to be on TV. I can't watch it. I don't have internet. I'm screwed. I can't watch. I can look at live timing on my phone. That's it.
Right, but Bart, whenever you go to the motocross track, do you watch the A-Class every time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
And so does 95% of everybody else that's there. Now, if the motocross nationals became a participant sport more so than it already is, and had, instead of just 250 and 450 Pro, if you had Schoolboy, Super Mini, 65 Open, the same way that they do, or like at the MXGP where they have MX1, MX2, EMX 125, EMX 300. You see, because they're racing 7 or 8 classes.
Yeah, careful. Don't water it down too much. But
No,
it better be some quality
racing, and quality riders.
I don't want to see a bunch of, guys rolling jumps, rolling doubles, can't hit them.
And I don't think that you would see that, in my opinion. But it wouldn't stop you from going and watching the guys on the track in the fastest class. Again, the cream rises to the top. You're always going to go watch whoever's fastest on the track. Now, is Phil Nicoletti going to perform miracles out on the dirt bike track the same way that Eli Tomac would? No. But in perspective, Phil Nicoletti is going to do stuff on the bike out on the track that nobody else is doing. You see what I'm saying?
Okay,
but then maybe there's not a true outdoor. It's just, it gets back to more local racing.
Hold on a second.
Which wouldn't be a bad thing.
Okay,
No.
So this year we had rain, we had mud, whatever. We showed up at Millville, we threw camp out, we slipped and slide, and, we do whatever to get the motorhome parked. Josh, are you going to show up and hang out at Jimmy's camp? Are you going to be there if Eli Tomac and Marvin Muskin aren't racing at Millville?
Sure, I like to hang out with Jimmy J.
I like hanging out with Jimmy too, but
Jim might listen. I had to say that.
but am I going to drive 8 hours
Right.
and fight the mud, fight the rain, fight the whatever? Well, I don't have to fight the crowd, because if Eli and Marvin and Bogle, my Suzuki guy, and Weston, if those guys don't show up, am I going to go there? Or am I just going to wait for a regular Viking Clash weekend and take town up there? And I don't know. I don't want to see that change. I want to see importance of the outdoor nationals stay there.
Yeah.
But I think if you separate them, it could kill the nationals. And like I said, maybe then you have more local stuff and you have fast, more fast.
What if you have
more entries in the fast classes?
Now,
maybe
think about it this way, Bart. Think about like Ponca this weekend. All right, it's a 3-day race. There's going to be some very fast motorcycle races there in every single class, and it's a capped number of entries, so it brings exclusivity. Now, are there any fans driving to Ponca City just to watch races? 0. The answer is 0. Now, imagine if every single outdoor national had the same format of that. Would there be fans? No, probably not. How many people drive to Loretta's to watch the races? None. But it's the biggest amateur race in the world, and if it and that's where people are, or it used to be, that's where guys were found.
Yeah, but I've been to Loretta's, and it ain't the same atmosphere as Millville or Redbud or whatever.
Right.
I
don't think, and again, I'm not saying if Feld says, hey, we're having a 22 race series, I'm not saying you're going to see all the manufacturers drop out immediately, but you are going to have guys pick and choose, and I think that MX Sports would have to say, how do we make the most out of this, even though Eli and Marvin and whoever else can't be here?
What's Davey's mom's name?
Rita
and Carrie are going to say, we're going to get the manufacturers by the balls. We ain't going to let them drop out of nothing.
Yeah.
Because if it goes to 22 to 24 of Supercross, the manufacturers are and you know, they're not going to, the riders, they're not going to be able to entice them with enough money to go race a handful of outdoors.
Yeah.
And MX Sports, in my opinion, is going to, okay, Kerry is married to one of the GNCC godfathers. Is it a Bobbitt? You don't know.
Sure, I'm drawing a blank here.
GNCC is growing big. MX Sports is involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
The motocross thing is going to go in the toilet if they lose the manufacturer participation and they don't have Marvin Muskin, Eli Tomac, Cooper Webb.
Right.
Those guys aren't showing up. Millville's all of a sudden their one payday or their one good weekend for the year is done, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's done.
Yeah.
If all the focus goes to Supercross. Is there one at Arrowhead now, since there's more rounds and there's St. Louis and there's Arrowhead? Dude, I'm all in.
Yeah.
I'm all in for that. I don't have to go far at all.
Yeah.
But as a, dude, I'm not going to be happy. But I can see it going to that. And I guess I understand it. I'm okay with that. As long as it doesn't go to Monster Truck, where they go, okay, Eli, tonight's your night. You get a win. Marvin, if you're leading and you got to make a mistake because Eli has to win tonight. If it's scripted like Monster Truck,
I don't think it'll ever get to that.
It'll never get to that.
No. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the manufacturers at that point say, okay, Feld, screw you, we're done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're also talking about, the thing about Monster Jam is that Feld owns the trucks.
Yep.
Whereas
the whole thing.
Right. It's not like Ford owns the trucks and is employing a driver. No, the drivers work for Feld. The trucks are owned by Feld. Everybody works for Feld because it's a one entity show. Whereas with Supercross, you have outside businesses competing under their guys.
So then Feld buys bikes. They own the bikes. They have the guys that ride them. Manufacturers aren't involved.
No. I don't think that they could pay. I don't think they could pay the riders enough to do
No,
it.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay. We're on the Supercross topic. In my opinion, the biggest thing that I have to look forward to right now is A1.
Right.
Yeah.
We watched Monster Energy. What are we looking forward to?
Good, clean racing.
No, bullcrap.
I want to see if Ken Roxon can come back.
Right. That's one thing.
Yeah.
One thing for me is Ken. Is he going to be a factor? Obviously, I think Marvin's got confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Is Eli really rattled, or is he like, I fell down and I couldn't win $1 million, so I'm sitting out the rest of these motos?
Right.
He's like, I had him covered. I was going to pass him,
He didn't look good before he wrecked.
Were you there?
No, I was watching it.
Oh, okay. But no, this is one season. I'm like, I don't know that we got a dominating guy coming in.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of interested in it.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm even more interested in 2018 than I was in 2017, and my interest was high in 2017.
Yeah.
Now, also, I don't know what it is about. Maybe it's because it makes me wonder if motocross came first and then Supercross was later in the year. Would we be as excited about Supercross as we are about motocross now? I don't think that. I think that Supercross would not be as interesting if we already were halfway through the year and we had one championship completed.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you
I never thought about that.
If you flip-flopped them, would it be as exciting? I don't think that it would.
Does it matter?
No.
I don't know. No, between injuries and between a little bit of time off, reset, whatever, if you did the same, I don't know that it matters what which comes first.
Yeah.
Flip-flop, it don't matter. I hope going to the start of the year, everybody's on the line. And
yeah, because usually before the first national, everyone's real excited about that because it's the first national.
I mean, yeah, but the interest going into Hangtown is about 50% of what the interest is going into A1. Now, it's also, there's a lot of hype, in industry.
Right.
But I think that there are people outside of our sport even that look forward to A1. Whereas...
Right, that's another demographic.
Right.
Who's not a core,
just the casual fan.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my biggest question, Josh, is Roxanne really going to be wearing Fox instead of Shift?
I don't know.
Oh, yes, you did.
No, I really don't.
No, really?
No, I promise you, I do not know. I'll be in California December 8th. I'll probably find out then. They don't tell us sales guys anything. We're the last ones to know because we get on radio shows like this and tell everybody.
Run your mouth,
yeah, exactly.
All right. Doesn't matter.
I have an idea, but that's because I've probably heard the same things on the internet as you have.
Yeah.
I've been calling in and saying, hey, I've heard this on so-and-so. No one tells me anything.
They said, don't pay attention to the internet.
Or mushrooms.
Boys, this party's going to turn into a pumpkin. We've been going for 3 hours and 12 minutes.
Jesus.
If you can believe it.
Can I go completely off topic and ask you something? I've been dying to ask you this.
Go ahead.
Can you explain to me, I think I know, but I would like to hear it from you, straight edge deal.
I don't drink, I don't do drugs, and I don't, I mean, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I figured that's what it was, but you did a pledge or something or what?
Well, no. I mean, it's like
I think it's cool.
So the straight edge lifestyle is leaderless and self-enlisted. So there's no, there's nobody that you pledge to.
Right.
It's just more so or less a promise that you make to yourself of, well, I'm never going to drink. I'm never going to get high in any way. I'm never going to do any drugs. Just wipe those 3 things out, or no smoking cigarettes, that kind of shit.
Okay. So you can't even smoke cigarettes?
No.
Okay.
No.
But he can visit Billy Bob's Tattoo Emporium. I mean...
I can. Yeah.
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 And it's... I mean, there... Again, it comes from... hardcore and punk music in the 80s. There was a band called Minor Threat.
Okay.
And their whole thing, at the time, in the 80s, youth culture was so much revolved around partying and cutting loose and being, very bratty.
Right.
And getting fucked up and doing stupid shit. Whereas the hardcore industry, or not industry, subculture has always been about going against the grain. Well, so obviously their blowback was, okay, fuck you guys, we're not going to drink. We're not going to smoke. We're not going to get high.
Right.
We're not going to be part of your dumb little parties, that mentality. Right. And then there's a song, I don't even know what it was called, but it was by Minor Threat. And their vocalist, Ian MacKaye, said, I've got the straight edge. And then it was just taken from there.
Right, nice, okay.
And then, so the whole, the thing about the X's that are involved in it, the 3 X's I have on my stomach, it has nothing to do with porn. Right. It's not because whiskey has 3 X's on it.
Boy.
It's not because I love the Vin Diesel movie. It's because of whenever hardcore bands would play at bars and they'd have all ages shows, kids that were under drinking age would have the black X marked on their hand with a Sharpie marker. Mm-hmm. So the black X was taken as a symbol of either being underage or I don't drink. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was a visual representation of their beliefs.
Right.
And then, the 3X, it just evolved from one thing to another. And then the 3Xs are not smoking, not drinking, not doing drugs.
Right.
Now, there are people that say, that like being vegan is part of being straight edge, which it's an entirely other different thing.
Okay.
Nothing about being vegan is mind altering. It doesn't take you from your 100% conscious state.
Yeah, I thought it was not drinking and drugs.
Right.
I didn't know the vegan
And then there are
part.
other people that say that, it's that also straight edge people don't have promiscuous sex. Wrong.
Boy,
That has absolutely nothing to do with it. Again, we're talking those are beliefs that people have
right.
in addition to being straight edge.
Okay.
But it has absolutely nothing to do with straight edge lifestyle itself.
Okay.
It's simply about not getting fucked up. That's it.
Nice. Okay.
Now, for somebody like me who I've never drank one time, I've never smoked, I've never gotten high.
Right.
Sure, I've been on morphine drip after breaking my leg.
Right.
That's the closest thing to, and
Sure.
that was medical. Now, do I condemn drinking? No. I love going to parties. I'm perfectly fine.
Right.
Yeah, bars got
There's a few of them
couple-
over there.
Yeah, there's a few cold ones cracked over here.
Yeah.
I go to-
soldiers over there.
Yeah, I go with my friends to the bars. I'm always designated dumbass.
That doesn't mean
like,
you
Yeah.
have to. Yeah, exactly.
and exactly, and it's fun. Like I have just as much fun going out and being completely sober as in my mind as if I was drinking.
Right.
Now, number one, I never have a hangover. I don't spend money on beer, and I don't get fat from drinking beer.
Right.
So those are all things that I don't suffer the consequence of.
Why is Jeff looking at me when he says
I-
something about getting fat from drinking beer?
I specifically did not look at you because I didn't want you to take that the wrong way. But yeah, and it's it's something that I've been about since I was like essentially 12, 13 years old because
Right.
let me tell you, in 7th grade, a buddy of mine, lifetime friend, Kevin Champ, and Steele Ferguson, I'm outing them. The two of them would bring juice cups to lunch with alcohol in the juice cups and would drink them at lunch and would finish the day at school fucked up. And these were my two buddies that I hung out with a lot. And I was just like, I'm not going to do that because nothing about doing that is going to make me better at riding dirt bikes. That's what it all was based off of, was my friends from school were getting fucked up on the weekends, even as early teens, and I wasn't around because I was going racing on Saturday and Sunday. And my thought process is, well, if you smoke, it's going to fuck up your lungs. You need lungs to race dirt bikes. If you drink, it's going to be hard to go to the races hungover. If you're doing drugs, again, how many people do?
Yeah.
You can't do drugs and race dirt bikes. So that was my whole thing, was I want to give myself that advantage of never having to do those.
Nice.
Or never deal with that. And then when I was 15, 16 years old, I started hanging out with Scott Gebkin a lot. And Scott's neighbor, Austin Turney, was straight edge at the time. And Austin, and little known fact, Scott also straight edge. Now he's not, obviously, he doesn't have the tattoos and he doesn't wear the band shirts and he doesn't go to hardcore shows and he doesn't play an instrument. Scott's the one that told me about straight edge. He's the one that taught me about the band Throwdown, which was they're like the holy grail of straight edge bands.
Okay.
Or in my day, in the early 2000s they were.
Right.
So I got into the music, fell in love with it. I still listen to hardcore and metal all the time, regularly. I listen to straight edge music regularly. It's all based off of music and doing the antithesis of what modern culture is. So, again, obviously, I can't tell you how many times people have come to me and be like, man, I wish I could not drink like you. And I'm like,
Yeah, easy. Just don't do it.
yeah, to me, it's like, well, it's not hard. And me and my girlfriend were talking about this the other day about how, for me, it's so hard for me to imagine what it's like for someone to wish that they didn't drink, because I've never drank. I don't have that as part of the building blocks of my social capabilities with other people. I don't go out on Saturday. I don't or Friday, Saturday, I don't go out. I don't go to the bars. I don't go drinking.
Right.
So I don't have that social development that a lot of people have. And people are like, man, I wish I could be like you. I'm like, if you take away your friends that are your drinking buddies, how many of them are actually friends?
Right. Sure. Yeah.
And
no, that's cool.
yeah. So anyway, the whole reason it got brought up is because yesterday, I believe, maybe 2 days ago.
I think it was yesterday, right? Yeah.
So one of the original like super popular hardcore bands in the 90s, 10 Yard Fight, they were a straight edge band. They played their last show ever on October 19th, 1999. I'm sorry, October 17th.
Okay.
And ever since then, and they just said, this is our last show. This is National Straight Edge Day. And ever since
And there
then,
you go. It is.
there it is.
Nice.
National Straight Edge Day, October 17th, every year. It's not on the books. It's unofficial. Nobody celebrates
Right,
it. I mean,
right.
there are straight edge kids that have parties, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
But it's and I'm sure people are listening like, what kind of parties are kids having without beer?
There's other things.
There's other things. That's right. And so, yeah, I mean, for me, it's like, it's kind of whenever I was young and I was in the hardcore scene, I got a lot of shit for being what's called a new jack. So anybody that's the hardcore scene is very elitist. It does not have open arms. It is not about welcoming new people in. You got to prove yourself, and it takes a really long time. Now you got to realize you got to prove yourself to people that are fucking shitheads that aren't that cool.
You're like, why do I have to prove myself to you?
Right. We're talking about a subculture of people that are essentially losers and people that are not socially accepted as normal. And they take great pride in that, and it becomes a thing where, it's fuck you, no, you're not part of our group, our club, our social status. And going into that for the longest time, because I was more into metal and like tough guy hardcore than like the original style punk rock, hardcore, thrashy type shit. That wasn't my thing.
Right.
I was looked down upon a lot and I just started claiming straight edge when I was 16 because it was something that I was already doing. It just, that's the way I live my life. So it was easy for me, like, oh, well, okay, I'm straight edge.
Right.
That's the way I am. So it was hard at first, and I got made fun of and shit. And I was like, dude, I don't fucking get it. I thought that this was like my crew of people.
Right.
And really, there were all these people that were like, these 16-year-old kids coming in that claim straight edge. Those are going to be the first ones to break edge and turn into drunk shitheads. And it's those people that like pointed at me and be like, you are the reason that straight edge is not taken seriously. You are the reason that, we don't want you around.
How dare they?
Yeah. And of course, now if you can only imagine how satisfying it is for me here at 29 with all my straight edge tattoos, thinking about all those people that ever told me, you ain't never going to be shit, you ain't going to be straight edge, it's a fad, you don't actually mean it. These people that were talking down to me, every single one of them has turned into a normal person.
Oh boy.
Goes to football games and gets hammered on Sunday.
Sure.
And it's very satisfying. And for me, that's what National Straight Edge Day is most celebrated for me, is I think about all those people that said, you can't do it, you're never going to be anything, this isn't how you actually are, but ended up being, that's actually what they didn't realize is I was already living my life that way for other reasons than to just be part of a group.
Right, sure. Now the other, just one more thing.
Go right ahead.
I mean, can we talk about how disappointing everyone's going to be trying to be at Evergood now? You're going to be out camping, which, hey, you're going to be out with your girlfriend, that's great.
Okay,
what a bummer.
So, Bart, I was going to go to the Evergood race in Iowa this weekend, and I had it planned all the way to the T, and I'm on vacation next week, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to go camping. And like, Aubrey took part of the week off. She took Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday off. She works Tuesday through Saturday. And I was like, fuck yeah, we're going to go camping, and then we're going to come home on Wednesday. I'm going to prep all my shit up, get loaded up Thursday, go up, ride Friday, Saturday, Sunday, do the whole Evergood experience at Oak Ridge. Great track. And then just on Tuesday, I realized that I made these camping plans with my girlfriend, and I mean, this week of vacation just happened to be this week. I bid on it in February. I just realized that the Evergood race was not the 28th and 29th. It was the 20th and 21st. And so, or 21st and 22nd, whatever it is. So I totally shot myself in the foot by saying, yeah, I'm going to go to the Evergood race and talking about it and hyping it up, only to realize I screwed up my planning and had it sideways for about 2 months of what I thought I was going to do. And then I started seeing these Facebook posts and Instagram posts. It's race week at Evergood or at Oak Ridge. Hope to see all the Evergood riders there. And I'm like, oh, mother.
I already had you in the shift hole shot challenge. You already had a spot, buddy. Oh, boy.
If you weren't so straight edge, I could come up with an excuse for you, but, you know.
Yeah, of why I'm stupid. Yeah. I just had too many things on my plate.
So, on the straight edge side of things, it's not a religion.
No.
But in a sense, it kind of is. Do you judge other people?
Not at all.
Okay.
No. And, whenever I was young, yeah, I used to. But I think that everybody's a teenager in early 20s. That's part of being of that age, just being judgmental. But as I've grown, and this goes into even religion, because I used to be a fucking dickhead about people that were religious. And then I realized, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm not any more right or wrong than anybody else just because of my beliefs. And it's the same thing with drinking or not drinking. It's like my best friend Keith. Every time we hang out, he gets drunk for the both of us. And so,
and his dad, Jim, he likes to throw down too.
Jim's been known to knock a cold one back. Yeah. And so, again,
I guess that's the right Keith.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't care. Yeah, it doesn't bother me one bit. Sure, at one time it did. And I was actually just thinking about this the other day, because I am an advocate for the use of marijuana versus prescription medication, painkillers, antidepressants, and also its medical uses for recovery or treatment of cancer. Now, I remember one time, and again, my girlfriend Aubrey, she loves the weed. It is known. There's no secret about it.
Well, I'm glad it's not a secret, because it's not now. So
now, I remember whenever the Missouri State Race series was on the whole Casey Haynes wave, where it was like the fish was on all the logos, and it was a Christian series, and it was way more hardcore into the God, classic southern side of motocross racing. And because my dad owned a track, obviously it was funny because I didn't give a shit about Casey Haynes or his religion. And yet this was the year that Rusty and McDowell got in trouble at Playground for smoking weed at the track.
Oh, I thought it was because they were complaining about the tall grass.
Well, you're probably right. It probably was, it was some type of grass.
Right.
And the next weekend was at Grain Valley, and Saturday practice where you go over the first tunnel, and this is in the original direction, go over the first tunnel towards the highway, and then make that left-handed bowl corner. Back there in the bowl, some dad, I have no idea who he was. He was back there.
Burning the bowl?
Yep, burning the bowl.
I was just going to say.
On the backside of the bowl, and I could smell it on the track. And I stopped and rode around, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? I was like 14, I would have been like 15 or 16. I was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what's in your hands, motherfucker? And he had the pipe in one hand and then just a little bag of weed. And he's like, I don't know, and throws his hands out like this, and they both go in opposite directions.
Oh,
and the weeds are tall back there. And I was like, what the fuck did you throw on the ground? I was like, do you know who I am? My dad owns this track. I'm going to go find, let's see, I don't know if Haldeman or whoever was running the series. I don't know if it's Jerry or Haldeman.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm going to go find Sharp, and I'm going to tell him that you're back here fucking smoking pot on my dad's property, and I was just ripping this dude a new one, and he's like, no, man, I just, don't worry about it, man, and like total, like, Big Lebowski, the way he's talking to me. And I was just thinking about that a couple days ago, about how perspective of being 16 and buying into weed is bad. Like, it's a bad drug. The only losers do.
I hear it's a gateway.
It's the gateway drug, yeah. And then now that I'm almost 30 and I've been around people that smoke weed, and I know that it's not like the devil's lettuce, that it's just a thing that people do to help them relax. And that's all this guy was doing, is he was just on the backside of the bowl, just
he was just chilling, man.
Yeah, he's literally just chilling. And I wish I knew who it was, and I wish I could say sorry to him now that I get it. I understand it. Even though I don't partake, I'm an advocate and a friend of weed. Even though I don't do it, I don't have to, I don't need to. But there are people that do.
Would you do it medically? Like if you had something?
If I was diagnosed with cancer tomorrow, I'd be the first one in line at the
dispensary.
Dispensary, yeah.
Sure. Now, are there people that, and sorry for the listeners if you don't care about this, I'm curious, but so are there people that can, lack of a better term, convert or whatever, right? Or say, okay, now I want to be straight edge and I don't want to drink and stuff anymore?
And again, or
does it not really matter? Because like you said, there's no...
And the thing, it's not like you got to log online and buy your...
See, that's the best, man. There's no one going, no, you can't.
No,
you
like
didn't do this, that, and the
leaderless and self-enlisted.
Ah, great.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's not about anybody else. You don't tell anybody if you don't want to.
I was just wondering because of the Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
You're like talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm curious if it's like a organized thing or
whatever.
No,
so. I mean, it's just one of those things where like you can tell if I'm not going to say you can tell if somebody's straight edge, but
how good we can profile people.
Yes.
Hot damn.
And you know what's crazy is there are places in America where straight edge is on the FBI's list of gangs. I mean, it's in places.
You're a full-on gangster?
Absolutely.
Shit,
in America.
Awesome. If I was the FBI, I'd be watching him for sure.
Oh, man.
And there are crews of straight-edge guys that are...
Assholes.
Hoodlums, vandals.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
It's organized crime in some places of these guys. Again, that's with every single thing. It doesn't matter what little sect of beliefs you have, whether it's religion... or what you do or don't put in your body, or how you see the world, or your skin color, creed, race, color, whatever it is. There are always going to be people that are part of that form small tribes, and then they get in mob mentality and start acting in ways that they wouldn't by themselves. And it has nothing to do with their title or their beliefs. It's just about the fact that you're talking about men in groups with unchecked testosterone that are willing to one-up each other and do dumb shit. And then,
A good thing dirt bikers never do that.
Never.
Boy, wow.
It'd have been way easier if you just said some people are assholes and some people are not.
Well, yeah, and absolutely. Yeah. And in this case, there are a lot of kids, I say kids, a lot of people that are straight edge that are, in fact, assholes. And it kind of gives it a bad rap. And I'll say this much, now it's not a popular thing. It's very little. And the thing is, now, and it's always been this way, if you want to, see, here's the thing. Now, there is a catch with being straight edge.
All right.
So if you want to be drug-free and you want to be sober and you're against cigarettes, great. You just don't do any of those things.
Right.
Now, the catch with being straight edge, once you claim to be straight edge, it's almost like being peer-reviewed. Because if you openly say, I'm straight edge, it does come with a bit of dogma, whereas if you breaking edge, if you break edge and start drinking again, you will be shamed. And it's not just by the straight edge community, it's by other people. Like the other people with
Like if you're shunned from the Amish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. It's
Well, that's not pretty.
very
Is
similar.
that where you came from?
No, I am not Amish. No.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a Mennonite.
Oh.
Yes, there is a difference, Bart.
Yeah.
Educate
Okay.
yourself.
And it's, I mean, again, we're talking about tribes of people.
Right, yeah.
And you're exiled, and you have to essentially reprove yourself as being worthy. And it's like, I remember growing up, there would be kids that would break edge, and I mean, they'd break edge. You never hear from them again because they were too ashamed to like show up at hardcore shows, or if they would, they'd be hanging out with different people, and you wouldn't speak to them. You know, the vow breaker.
Yeah,
you know, it's, and again, it's
Don't
so
talk to
dumb.
him.
It's not like you're a man of the Night's Watch where you take the vow and then you know you never get to fuck women and you're always on the wall. No, it's totally different. Where again, it's just for yourself, but there is a social dogma if you do. That's like, and obviously, guys like me who have straight edge tattoos. Imagine what it's like to have a giant straight edge tattoo and then be caught drinking by somebody that takes straight edge very seriously.
Yeah,
like
right.
there's a
And then you would be judged.
and you may have somebody cheese grater your tattoos off.
Nuh-uh.
It's happened more than once.
People need to get over it, man.
Yeah, and it's you know, okay, so there is probably the largest crew of there's two major crews within being straight edge, and one of them is called 24, and then the other one is Courage Crew. Now, it's more of a West Coast thing. Now, there's East Coast and there's West Coast, again, with all gangs.
Do they feud?
Not really.
Okay,
no.
good,
Uh-uh.
good.
And I mean, and some of this is motorcycle related and Harley Davidson related. There are like Courage Crew guys, pretty much all ride Harleys. 24 guys, and not so much. They're more into extortion. and I don't know where Courage Crew gets their name, but 24, X is the 24th letter in the alphabet.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, we could go for hours more. This totally fascinates me.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's,
Really?
It's like,
Yeah, it
I'd
really
like to
does.
roll it back into motocross.
I know. I apologize for that. I had to.
No,
it's been-
you got to ask.
yeah, jeez, you know.
yeah, and it's I mean, again, and it's like, never has the thought of drinking or doing drugs come across my mind of just like socially or casually.
Right.
And I don't wonder what it's like. It's not
Yeah,
on my radar.
Yeah, I've never wondered what it's like to do drugs.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'll have a beer every now and then.
Right.
Maybe I'm just like a chipped edge.
Oh my God.
And I'm not making fun of anything. I'm sorry, I had to.
That was the corny jokes or
I
like
know.
guys have said like broken edge or crooked edge or you know it's like
Something like that guy.
you either are or you're not. And
But
there's-
he's none of that. He's just a chipped edge.
Yeah, and so
You know.
so the thing about being straight edge, and we'll end it on this,
Yes.
and this is how we'll end the podcast.
Oh boy.
So there's a saying within the straight edge community, and it's if you're not straight edge tomorrow, then you never were.
Okay.
That's as long as you're still straight edge tomorrow, then
Sure.
it's-
Yeah.
yeah.
Ah, cool. No, I
Yep.
like it.
Well, that's OTB.
I know a thing or two about you. You're bullshit at a time. You're fucking weak, just let me tell you it shows right through. You don't know shit about me or my friends, what they are, what I am. So cut this shit and try not to pretend. You're scared of who and what we are until you question yourself. What's too bad, we'll let you show scar now. I'm still here and still proud, and I still know what it takes to be true. Yeah, to be true. For my